What a 24 plus hours. My God. It has
Mm.
been pretty intense since the Switch 2. We've got more news that's come out. We've had the Treehouse Lives. We've all kinds of information scattered all over the place. So I thought it'd be so fun to talk about everything so far, from the Direct to the Treehouses to all the other news, with not just our guests here being Nick and Don. First off, how are you two doing, by the way?
Good. Excited to
Good.
talk Switch stuff.
What a
Yeah.
crazy amount of circumstances this whole charade felt like.
It really charade. It's
Yeah.
interesting. Chat, how are you guys
Yeah.
doing? I want to check with you guys. How are we feeling? Because I feel like there has definitely been, at least to some degree, a vibe shift with the news
Mm.
of the prices that came out yesterday. And watching Nintendo's live stream today, the Treehouse, it was just constant nonstop chatter about the price. That's all people talk about. Where are the prices? So we definitely will be touching
Mm.
on that soon. But before we get too deep into the woods on that, I just want to find out, how are we feeling about everything now? Like, are we feeling like, did this live up to our expectations now that we've had time to process most of it, or did it underwhelm a little bit for console reveal? I want to hear from you guys. And let's go start with you, Don, since I think
Yeah.
you weren't here yesterday, if I recall. So yeah, you weren't. Yeah. So how? Tell us how
Yeah.
you're feeling.
I feel two ways about this. I think I'm pretty excited for what's coming about Switch 2 and what the hardware looks like. It's the price though. It had some time to adjust to. Like obviously I'm going to get it.
Right.
That's crazy talk. Obviously I'm going to get it, but it took a moment for me to adjust myself to saying I feel comfortable with that. Because for context wise, in euros, the Mario Kart bundle is 510
Yeah.
and the base price is 470, which took for me a lot of adjusting to because it's
Mm.
basically a good chunk of my monthly income. So it's a lot to drop on a console, like in one go, particularly. But I'm going to get it for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Oh, especially because for many of us, like we're kind of inherently biased because, or at least to some degree, me and Nick more so perhaps, we need it for like our work stuff, right? Like we need these systems, and of
Hmm.
course as big Nintendo fans too. But
Yes.
I think the bigger question is when it comes to the broader market. But yeah, I mean it sucks. Like I mean, obviously paying in general sucks, especially paying more than
Yes.
some people were expecting for. But Nick, how are you feeling about everything? Price, even outside beyond the price right now.
Yeah, beyond the price, I mean, everything that was shown off yesterday and even today at the Treehouse, like, I'm excited. We went from
Yes.
not knowing anything from Nintendo for this year, right? Like, it was just Donkey Kong HD again, and then we had Xenoblade like 2 weeks ago. And after that, it was like, when is Metroid coming out? When is Pokemon coming out? We still don't know dates for those games, but once we saw everything else, I was like, oh my God, Nintendo has a lot of games coming out this year.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, they have a lot going on, and also I want to give a quick shout out to everyone in the chat, including our lovely members. I see William saying drop the price, just like the live stream chat on Nintendo's channel, which is crazy. Yeah, you know what? It's kind of strange. Generally, after a direct, even ones I really enjoyed, I'm usually kind of feeling, like, maybe it wasn't quite as good as I thought. In this one, I'm almost feeling the opposite. Again, kind of ignoring price for right now. I think like Nintendo actually did a really good job. I think obviously
Mm.
it's never perfect, but I think they're the key things that they showed off are so good that I'm finding
For
myself even
sure.
more hyped. Like because we found even more about these games than we knew yesterday, and I'm just like super hyped. Like Mario Kart World looks freaking amazing. I did not think they'd ever be able to blow me away with Mario Kart again. I felt like they had figured out a formula for it that would never stray from it. Dear God, they found a way to impress me again, and it looks amazing. It's the exact kind of change we need after 10 years of Mario Kart Deluxe. Beyond that, though, Kirby Air Riders, we barely saw it, to be fair, but I am so stoked doing that is a project Sakurai's been working on. Again, a sequel I never thought we would ever get. Amazing. And then even getting into smaller stuff, like finding out about how Switch 1 games will work on Switch 2 with enhancements, with a handful of games that won't work, most of which I don't affect me personally. That's all good stuff, and the fact that many of those enhancements, first off, are free for everyone on Switch 2, and then of course you have the what are they calling the games are getting the better, the bigger upgrades, like
Switch 2
Switch 2
edition.
edition
Oh, that's right,
games.
Switch 2 editions. Yeah, with those
Yeah.
being free though for NSO members at least. Even though I'm a little mixed on some of those enhancements they're adding. Like I think the Zelda
I
stuff
mean,
is kind of pointless,
yeah.
but yeah.
I
Um,
mean, the Zelda stuff are the ones that are going to be free with expansion pack.
Exactly, right.
Uh,
So is
and
Mario Party. I mean, aren't they all
Mario
free?
Party,
No,
Mario
so
Party, and other
they
ones
aren't all free. Oh
are
wait,
are
Mario.
not free. Are not
Yeah.
free with NSO.
Oh, they're not all free. Okay, see, this is
No.
why I'm glad I got you guys in the chat here. There's so much news to process from all this. It's all a
Yeah.
little confusing.
So what specifically said is that if you have expansion pack, then the upgrades for Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild are included with your membership,
Okay,
but the other ones are straight up paid
got it. Okay.
additional content.
So
Yeah.
okay, that does lessen my my hype just a little bit from where I was. Anyways, point is, I think it's generally a good idea, like that they're enhancing previous games to be better on Switch 2, and like it adds more value to the Switch 2 library while also giving more life to the existing library. Like the
For sure.
Mario Party's community isn't going to die for a long time, especially now, and that's great. But yeah, so overall, I'm feeling pretty good. Like I still wish they had shown a little bit more of their future plans. But then I saw like Metro Prime 4 today. I'm like, that looks freaking gorgeous on Switch 2. Like, hell yeah, sign me up, And I think Nintendo overall did good, or really good, in fact. But we gotta talk about the price, right? Like those, we already did a little bit. $450 for the console, I don't think is unreasonable myself. I was kind of even expecting that to happen. It's really the game thing that I think is tripping a lot of people up. We all know with $80 is going to be the main new price for their biggest games, but I'm guessing it probably is. And Mario Kart, yes, and I think that sets an unfortunate precedent for the future. I don't know.
I'm gonna ask a question because I don't know from my perspective. Is both at retail and digital, it's going to be $80 in America?
So yeah, that's the thing, Andre. Do you know about that, or anyone in chat that can help us out? Because I think that's the case over in Europe, right? Like there's different price.
So yes, in Europe there are different
Europe,
prices,
right? Yeah. So you have like if you want Donkey Kong, it's going to be cheaper getting it digitally, but if you want to buy it physically, it's going to be more expensive.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the case here, right? Like I said, Andre, if you know or someone in chat, because like things are being thrown all over the place, so I don't think you can pre-order anything yet, at least game-wise.
Yeah, so in Europe, if you buy it digitally, Mario Kart is €80. If you buy it physically, it's 90.
Okay, so George is saying we are correct. Theodore Play says, I think $80 for digital, 90 for physical. Wait, what? Is that the case? Is it actually? It's not $90 for Mario Kart physical, I don't think.
I don't.
Martin said it's the same physical and digital.
Okay, yeah.
Because on the US website for Mario Kart, it just says MSRP $79.99, right? Like I don't think it shows any other option on the website, at least in the US one.
Yeah, I know some people, regardless of what's happening in the US, I know some people were like, you guys thought the prices are bad there. For our region, these are really bad, and I don't have a great scope or great, insight into the economics of a lot of other countries, but that is unfortunate. That really is the case. Now, I will say, I don't want to credit Nintendo too much here, but if you buy the upgraded bundle, $500, I think, you get Mario Kart for what's effectively $50. If we assume $450 is a natural price for Switch 2, that's actually really good. That's a good price. If you want to pick up Mario Kart, that's the way to do it. It's unfortunate that if you decide to pick up Mario Kart later, you're really being punished for it, and that sucks. It's hard to defend. But the Switch 2 bundle is a way to go, especially because that is going to be the main game to get at launch, if not the really only main first-party game.
I think that's what sort of tipped the scale for me of going on the bundle, because having a cheaper copy of Mario Kart with my console makes me realize I can justify the price now for it completely. Right. But it also, it's like you said, it punishes people who come later.
Yeah, and that really does suck. Like, especially if the bundles sell out, maybe you can't pick one up, or you decide about one later and the bundle's no longer around, whatever the case may be, or you get gifted a Switch and you have to buy the $80 game yourself, whatever, Switch 2 I meant, whatever the case may be. I'll probably be doing that live one. When I say Switch, I'll probably mean Switch 2. Whatever the case may be, yeah, it sucks. Now, I will say, again, I don't want to come across as a corporate bootlicker or anything, because I'm not, I don't think, and I think this $80 price point sucks, period. I want to get that out there. I think it sucks. I will say, though, if there were going to charge that price, Mario Kart seems like probably the fairest one to do it with, because I got hundreds of hours out of value of even previous Mario Karts, even the ones I was sick of, Mario Kart Deluxe. I still put hundreds of hours into that, and if it is only just this one game, okay, fine, I give you this one, Nintendo, that's fine. The real concern is this going to be their main price going forward? Now, we do know that DK only $70, so better, but that's still Tears of the Kingdom tier, which was, so to speak, which also kind of sucked at the time. But I do think like a price increase was expected at some point.
Hmm.
And I think 70 would be more reasonable as the cap. But if 80 is the cap for future Nintendo games, that does suck a lot, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's
also
really a
it's
bummer with that pricing, especially if it's going to be telling to see what Kirby and what Hyrule Warriors are going to be priced at because we don't know pricing for those or even release dates for those like at
yes.
all. So like we still have that two different pricing, like $80 for Mario Kart, $70 for Donkey Kong. Are they still going to go with this pricing of different SKUs for these games going forward, right? Which they probably are, right? Like next year, like Tomodachi Life's not going to be $80. Like that would be insane.
Yeah,
Or Rhythm Heaven,
exactly.
it's not going to be $80. That
That's
game's probably going to be
suicide.
what 50 or 60, maybe 60 at the most, which is still a little crazy. But yeah, those games aren't going to be $80.
No.
You know, I do think part of the reaction for this, I mean, obviously there's always going to be blowback no matter what. I do think part of the reaction is the way Nintendo went about this. Number one, they kind of hit the price, right? They should have had it in the direct. I think that would have been better than kind of like trying to sneak it in there, and that just almost made it worse. It's like the Streisand effect, right? You try to hide something and it
Yeah.
makes it worse. But the second part is, I think Nintendo should tackle this head on. Like, I honestly think, had this been the Iwata era, assuming this price is carried through, which it may have, there are real world factors happening now that could be partly why we're seeing these prices. So, but I'm not an economist. I don't want
Sure.
to get too much into it. But I think had these prices happened under Iwata, he would have come out and
Hmm.
like addressed it. You know, I think that would have been so much better. Putting a face to this price, you know, to try and soften the blow, I think would have helped. Probably not entirely, but I think would have helped if he came out and explained, "Hey, there's real world marketing conditions. This is why we need to do this." Like, I'm so, you know, it's unfortunate, but this is the way things are for now. I think people have been more understanding. But the fact Nintendo didn't do that and tried to kind of like, you know, again, kind of sneak it in there under all the good news they had, I think was a bad way to go about it.
And like you said, Andre, we're not like standing besides Nintendo because we don't want to pay more for these
No,
games, right?
right?
But at the
No.
same time, like if you look at Mario Kart, I don't feel like I owe something to Nintendo, but I've been playing that game for 10 years. Like
Right.
the next time we get a new Mario Kart, I'm gonna be so much older then. So it's like I don't plan on buying a new Mario Kart in like 20. I mean, not like 5 years. I plan on buying the next one probably in 10 years. So this game's
Yeah,
gonna last me such a long
a
time.
10-year investment. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We had a couple super chats I haven't touched on real quick. Taylor Plays had said all the Zelda reveals were incredible. Hey, I love that you're happy for that. It was nice to see, you know, Wind Waker back. Not HD though. That'll hopefully happen at some point. Cool Rips
Mm.
with a super chat as well says future collector's editions will probably cost $1,000. Oh my god.
I
Let's
think there
hope
was
not.
some collector's editions like that pricey. I think there was like maybe like a Final Fantasy one that came with Cloud on his bike that was like maybe $200, $300. It was pretty pricey. It
Mm.
was like a console or something. But yeah, $1,000. There's definitely been something out there that pricey.
Yeah, Don, how are you? You know, which I know you touched on it earlier, and we don't want to, you know, keep going forever. But like, how are you just kind of feeling
Yes.
in general? Like, is this a bad direction for Nintendo? Do you think this is like could
I
this be a
mm.
backfire moment for them?
The thing is with game prices, obviously, like development teams grow and development costs grow, especially if you put more resources into a game, which
Especially
Nintendo is
making open world
clearly.
Mario Kart? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah. With how Nintendo is going about this, like even if you look at Donkey Kong, there's clearly put a lot of resources into that game, which they have to earn back.
Right.
Do I necessarily agree that games need to cost more? Obviously not. You want the cheapest amount of low point where people just come in and play it. But maybe it's not super realistic. It's just it feels like a bunch of news together, which makes it a bit more hard to palette.
Right.
Especially, we also don't know, for example, how much upgrade packs will be. We don't know how if you just want to buy the game, you never bought it before, how much that will be on a cartridge with the Switch One game plus the upgrade pack. Or if you're going to buy, for example, Legend ZA or Metroid Prime 4 specifically on Switch 2, how much is that version going to be comparison to the Switch 1 game? That's sort of stuff we need to wait and see. I will just say purely, not from an American perspective, but from a European perspective, I find it weird we now have a two-tier price scheme for digital and physical with a €10 difference.
Right. Yeah. It's a good point. I mean, there's a lot of pricing factors involved here too. Not even mention all the new accessories and everything, right? Which I think you may have brought up briefly, but yeah, there's a lot going on here.
Yeah, I think
Hmm.
this pricing is also going to be an issue with outside sources, I mean, competition to Nintendo. Like, what's Microsoft and Sony going to put pricing on their games, right? Especially if those games cost so much more to make than like a Mario
Mm,
game. Like, I remember, what was it? Like, I think Sony was like, oh, Spider-Man costs like $250 million to
Right.
make. Like,
Yeah.
holy cow, that's a lot of money to make a video game. And they're
yeah,
at the time, that one was just the first one. They were charging $60 for that. So to see what third parties or other developers are going to be charging for their games after Nintendo just made this move, it's going to be really shocking to see what happens this year for pricing.
Hmm.
mm,
Yeah, I'll touch more on that in a second, but Tatani Ben Busi, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, says, this kind of poop storm, they didn't say poop storm, this kind of poop storm in the Treehouse chat is unprecedented, so it felt like a majority feels its pricing is unfair. Yeah, here's the thing. It's hard to tell exactly how much of it is, just general, like, kind of typical gamer outrage versus how much of it is actually, like, truly authentic. And I think the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. I don't think the chat is necessarily a great takeaway. But I mean, I will say at the same time, like the fact it was that active and it was only people complaining, almost no one had anything positive to say. I posted a whole video of like a minute's worth with
right.
everything, almost everyone being on the exact same page. Yeah, it's not great. That's definitely not good.
Mm,
And it's definitely possible that this does backfire on Nintendo. That it could eventually underwhelm or catch up with it. In fact, now, but Nintendo can adjust. They can lower the price. That ends up being the problem, and maybe they'll have to
sure.
eat some of that cost. I know they hate taking a loss on hardware, for instance, or maybe even software.
Mm.
But they actually never take a loss on software.
Well,
But
I
yeah,
think I think with software they usually don't want to lower their price. That's also the thing. They
true.
usually stick to their guns. Even when you look at systems that fail, they usually don't lower software prices. That's the last thing they would resort to. So the fact that they're raising them raise a lot of eyebrows because they are notoriously known for not lowering them at all.
That's a great point. That absolutely is the case. I saw some people mention that. Like I saw some comments being like, "Well, Xbox and PlayStation have some games that's expensive," and I actually don't know if that's true or not. But assuming so, one of the responses was that, "Well, yeah, but they lower the prices eventually. Like you can get discounts of those games a few months after launch." Nintendo, that's almost never the case. They occasionally have deals on the eShop now, but usually only for special events. I do wonder, like. So to your point, Don, I kind of agree with you. They want to push a higher price, obviously, if they can. And I think, and
Yeah,
we're going to see how Mario Kart does. If Mario Kart underperforms, we're going to see Nintendo panic, and we're going
Yep.
to see them, like, just suddenly, like, not release new games at that price again. They're going to realize, okay, we pushed it too far, we're not going to do it. But another way they
yeah,
could do it, Don, is they can maintain that price, maybe even for future games too, and bring back the voucher program or something similar to that, right? Where you could get
for
discounts
sure.
that way, but by locking yourself into future purchases too. So I think there are ways Nintendo could work within the system that they have and
Yeah.
make it so they can effectively lower the price for us, but actually lowering the price of retail. So
I think the worst first indication if something goes wrong with Switch software is them talking about it because they usually like to praise of how high software retention their hardware gets. Switch was particularly high, like roughly 8 games per person per console.
right.
Like if that drops significantly and they only just buy Mario Kart or something else within the first year, hey, I think there's something wrong with your pricing scheme.
So that's actually a really good point. Yeah, maybe people just buy Mario Kart and that shit. It's like how Wii was a Wii Sports system for many people, right? It's just this is the Mario Kart system now, and at that price, it's
Mm,
kind of encouraging it. But again, with how broad Mario Kart seems to be, that'll probably be fine for many people. But for Nintendo, that might not be what they want.
no,
Sorry, go ahead, Don.
no, you go ahead.
Yeah, we had a super chat from Windsor Guy 22 who says here in Canada it's $6.49 and $6.99 and 90 digital alone for games. Going to be a hard sell for them in my region. Yeah, absolutely. Like I hear that, and I know of course economics are a little bit different in every country, but that sounds
Of
bad.
course.
Like that does not sound
Yes.
good at all. And that is going to be, I think, a hard sell. Like we could see a backfire like we had before with the 3DS era. Similarly, Nintendo was riding high, right off. The
Mm,
3DS, at least Wii was dying and or dead by that point. But
mm,
point is, they were like riding high in the handheld market at least. But then they overcharged. People weren't willing to pay that much for a 3DS, or at least many people's Nintendo wanted.
mm. I also say on the flip side, there's always for every person that one
Hmm.
game they will buy no matter what. So even if software prices keep up, like even if they want to buy the Switch 2 for one game, that's still a system sold.
True.
Um, so I mean, ultimately, it kind of depends what Nintendo's strategy is in this case and what they feel is right. I do think that they like to tout about how much software they sell within a console lifecycle.
And this is such a good point. Software is so important. And if you remember correctly, or I remember correctly, rather, the 3DS launch lineup kind of sucked. Yeah, I like Pile Wings, but do most people? I don't think they do. Or, some do, but and that was definitely
Steel Diver.
The Steel Diver, yes. That definitely.
Hey man, I was a Nintendogs guy.
Nintendo, they have Nintendogs at launch, but that wasn't like a big exciting new IP, right? It was what we had seen before,
yeah.
And that was like a modest upgrade. It was basically what the Switch 2 editions would be now. Only then it was a brand new game. So I think the difference in this case is they have strong software. Mario Kart is a killer launch title. Making that launch is so freaking smart. And we know Donkey Kong's coming up not long after. And then we have, the Switch 2 edition games. And Metroid Prime 4 is around the corner as well. And then Kirby Air Riders is this year as well, right? Just haven't shown much of it yet. This is all great stuff, and that's a big difference. So it's going to be really interesting to see how things play out. I'm going to be honest, I don't think we see much effect at launch. I think launch is going to be a big success no matter what. If it isn't, Nintendo's going to reassess. It's the months after launch that'll be really telling. If sales start to slowly, start to taper out, Nintendo could be in trouble, and they may want to adjust quickly before it weighs them down.
It would be crazy to see if they adjust anything for the Switch as well as the Switch 2, right? Because the Switch never saw a price decrease, at least here in the US, right? Like, so maybe that is part of the strategy. They'll see how much they can get away with charging us, and then if it starts to dwindle down in the first year, they'll be like, okay, we need to drop the price from the Switch 2, possibly Switch 1. We need to get this out to as many people as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, there is no indication they're even going to drop the price of the original Switch as well, which, I mean, to be fair, they can fully do that, but if Nintendo's intent is to keep it that price, $150 more for an upgraded version that can do basically everything the original can and, much more, doesn't seem unreasonable, especially, when compared to other next-gen systems. Like, this is still the cheapest of them all, isn't it? Maybe aside from, is it actually? Is there any addition to the other consoles?
I mean, there's also there's still the Series S, but
right.
If you really want an Xbox, why do you buy a Series S?
I think if you can get the PS5, correct me if I'm wrong, chat. I think the PS5 Slim.
Oh, the PS5 digital edition.
I think the digital one.
Oh, that's true.
No, so the same price. But it's all digital though, but the same price as the Switch, and you don't have the disc drive.
So I guess that is a good comparison. Even though the Switch 2 still has the ability to use physical carts. Although, this is tied into something, another pricing related issue to a degree that Don wanted to talk about, which is important, is the game key card thing, right? The game card keys, whatever they are.
Yeah, so basically, instead of download code in boxes, which was a really silly idea to begin with, because you can just buy a card with a download code on it, but I digress. Instead, they're now putting in a cartridge that has almost no data on it, and through that cartridge, you download the game and have access to the game.
Yeah.
So what does this mean for trading in the game?
Oh, it means it's worthless, I think.
It's worthless.
Actually, no, I take it back. I'm sorry. No,
there's still inherent value to having a data card.
Yeah.
Because the license is assigned to the cartridge.
Okay.
But you already have downloaded the entire game, so basically you have a brick on something on your home screen you can do nothing with if you just trade in the game.
I hadn't thought about that, actually. It still does have that value, at least for a time, until the servers get turned off. You can presumably sell these and get it back. I mean, it seems like it seems like the way they're kind of positioning this, and I could be misreading into it, is that some games are going to be huge and straight up they don't want to pay those cartridge prices or the card prices, and that's why they're going to have it. And this is something that already existed on Switch 1, basically. This really isn't anything too new. The concern is that they're really kind of making a bigger factor. Like, it could be a bigger issue on Switch 2.
To me, what the bigger thing here is with this one is that there are no bigger game cards with a faster loading speed, and they just decided to make now instead of years ago where they just put it behind an update, and they didn't even call it the full game download. They called it an update.
Right.
This is now basically the entire game, halfway a digital license, halfway a physical license.
Yeah, it's strange.
It's so bizarre to think about. And do we think this is mostly because of the 4K games, or is this going to be like a third-party thing? Like, is first-party games going to be this large?
It seems to be what the publisher wants, For example, the HD remaster of Bravely Default, which is 11 gig game, is almost fully outside of the cartridge. You have to download it. If you,
Wait,
it's almost fully on a game key.
so even games that's small, like that seems pretty small, right? Like why isn't the
Yeah,
full game on there? That makes no sense.
I will say on the flip side though, and I do need to give them credit for that. CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk, they are putting the entirety of Cyberpunk on a 64 GB cartridge.
Like that's crazy. Like I would think something bigger than that wouldn't be on there. So that's what the game key would be used for. But Bravely Default only being 11 gigs. I'm like, what? I don't get that. Why is that on the game card?
Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason. It just seems to be solely a publisher thing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it is just a way of avoiding, higher costs, right? Like we saw this, 64. Some games could, a lot of games couldn't really fit on the cartridge. Hence why Final Fantasy VII went to CD. It was too cost prohibitive to put it on the cartridge. And even then, the bigger cartridges, the ones that use more memory, ended up costing more. And it's possible we see something like that here too. Maybe that's part of the reason Mario Kart, is so expensive. Maybe it is on a bigger cartridge than Nintendo games typically are. I'm just speculating. I have no idea what the reasons for the cost increase are. Real quick, we got some super chats we gotta get to. Cool Rips, thank you. Says thanks to everyone, by the way. I don't know if I thanked all of you. I think hardware pricing is inevitable to go up. The $80 price tag is a shocker. We're ready to add the pack-in game for free, one game a month for me. So wait, are you saying, I'm a little confused. Are you saying you're buying a game a month? That seems pretty good still. But yeah. Putting that aside, I didn't want to touch on it too much. That was a welcome tour game. Why are they charging for that? That is ridiculous. Like that should have been a pack-in. Like granted, it's only $7 or something, but still, why? Like it just feels a little slimy in combination with everything else. Like, will people be fooled into buying this kind of silly little game?
Hey.
What?
Weren't you felt slimy about buying 1-2 Switch for $40 though?
I mean, that's true too. But at least that felt like an actual game. Here. Sorry, what, Nick?
It was $50 here, actually, once you Switch, when it first came out.
Yeah, that's absurd, too.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, I'm so shocked that they're not tying any Nintendo IPs to this, right? Like, you look at Nintendo Land, which is more than a tech demo. Like, I played that game all the time, but, like, there's nothing really tied to the Welcome Park, right? It is just these generic-looking characters. They're not even Mii's, and they're just walking over to a desk and talking and getting info. Like,
yeah. I mean, I don't hate the Welcome Tour being $10. Like, if there's fun stuff in there, like cool tech stuff, then heck yeah, why not?
Well, it
should have been included, but at least it's not an outrageous price like 1-2 Switch at launch.
I do agree with that. I think it just ties into the kind of general vibe right now of Nintendo kind of overcharging for some things perhaps. And you look at that game, the only other true Switch 2 launch title, I believe. And it looks like a tech demo or something. Not even that. It kind of looks like an advertisement for the system you just bought, Because the Switch 2...
It reminds me of Welcome Park on the PlayStation Vita.
That's what I think, because they have the same names.
Wait, is that the Astro Ball one?
No, on the Vita.
They had the Vita. Yeah.
Yeah, the Vita, they had also a sort of similar idea where they showed you a bunch of concepts of how to play the Vita.
Right.
And this seems very similar to that, but then with more information and quizzes and stuff. It feels a bit more weird and experimental in that sense.
Was it a separate paid for thing on Vita?
It was free.
No, that was installed on your Vita.
Yeah. See, that makes so much sense to me. Like, it feels like they're trying to sell you on the hardware you already own, which is super weird, and you're paying for that. For that privilege. And also, wasn't Astrobot's Playroom free as well?
Playroom was free too. Yeah.
Yes.
That's so much better than Welcome Tour. That's what I'm saying. It's just like it's not so much a price or the product itself. It's just a combination of the two. So,
but also at the same time, like it costs money, but I'm also like, I'm not gonna judge it until I actually experience it and see what it has, because if there's fun stuff in there that I can play again, then why not? Then it's cheap enough that I'm not gonna be bothered by it. If it's one and done, then yeah, I'm gonna complain about it afterwards.
Yeah, looking at the Treehouse stuff, I'm guessing they showed some of the cooler stuff. It looks like a one and done. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are a couple neat novelties in there. Playing Mario Brothers at 4K and the entire level fits in a row, like that's neat. But I'm gonna play it once and that's it. Like that's not the ideal way to play Super Mario Brothers.
Fair enough.
Anyways, another super chat from HJ says, I don't mind the bundle price. Mario Kart World being $80 is absurd. Switch is my favorite system. I have high hopes for Switch 2. I have high hopes that Switch 2 price has to be addressed.
I think that's the other thing that justifies it for me, because for me, like, about 60% I played this thing in handheld mode. Like I still bring my Switch every day if I go to work. So the fact that I can do it now with a more powerful system that's 1080p in handheld mode and has a 120 FPS screen, that's kind of nice actually.
I will be honest. So I think the hardware itself, and I mean this in the best possible way. This is kind of roundabout way. The hardware itself
Mm.
isn't all that exciting. It's a Switch One that's even better, and for most people that's totally fine.
Yes.
And so I was going into this prepared to inherently just not be that excited about the hardware. I have to say though, Nintendo pretty much delivered on that front. I think they did a good job explaining what the Switch 2 is, even if it may not have a ton of new hardware features. They did a good job selling you on what all it can do, to including your existing library. Like, it's breathing new life into the games you already own, and that is actually really freaking cool. Which is even more impressive considering if you read into the system, like, it's using literally zero hardware, at least when it comes to the GPU and CPU, from the Switch. The way they're accomplishing this, the compatibility, is like halfway through emulation, which is wild. So the fact that they got it working at all, and to the degree it's improving everything, is awesome. And then that's not even to mention the new features too, like game chat, upgrading the apps, and all that. Even if game chat, maybe we should move into that. Actually, I think it looks awesome. Oh, actually, I take that back. I think it looks cool. It has some problems. I don't know if I'll even use it that much myself, but I'm so glad that LAC that's finally a feature on Nintendo. Like, dear God, why did it take this long for Nintendo to discover how Discord works, right?
Yeah, it is shocking that it took them this long, but it's like, it's just nice to know that it's here, because with the next console we don't have to worry about that, right? Like when they're teasing something new for the next console, it's like, okay, it's not going to be game chat anymore. Like, that should have been their day one since even before like the Wii U. So it's good to know that a simple feature like that is going to be their day one.
I think they basically said, we want Discord at home.
It looks like Discord at home with a frame rate for everyone else. I was looking at that, I'm like, yes, finally, the perfect place to play Stun Race FX online. It'll run flawlessly on that.
I mean, it makes sense if you want to populate it with 4 different video feeds, but I think hopefully when you actually zoom in on somebody, like, the frame rate increases a little bit. I don't really necessarily have the hardest feeling on that, but it could be. But if you want to stream 4 video feeds at the same time within a Switch, then it makes sense that the other ones are a bit choppy because you're only looking at them very small.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get it in the sense that you're probably not actively looking at them that much, But yeah, if you were to zoom in on one, I hope that the feed will get better then, or something. I don't think we've seen that yet, have we? Them like zooming in.
Actually, we've only seen it a little bit in the first trailer, but I don't really feel like there was much improvement there. A little bit. So yeah, hard to say.
Justin says, I hope to God you can minimize the chat. It makes the game look way worse. I do agree with that, and I'm pretty sure that they've shown that. I think you can just use straight up voice chat without the video feeds.
Oh yeah, they did show that when they were transitioning into Pikmin. Like, they showed everyone disappear, the borders go away, it goes to the regular view that it typically looks like when you're just playing by yourself.
You can definitely minimize it. Say, okay, fair enough.
So yeah, I think it's cool, and especially when it came to, they were showcasing like 4 swords on the Game Boy Advance earlier today on Treehouse, and like, that's great. That's just a perfect case for it. In fact, it makes
great use of it.
Yeah. And it makes me wonder for the possibility of maybe the return of Nintendo Land. Like, that's such a great way of going about finally being able to make that game playable again. They, of course, would have to hide the main screen for the gamepad player or whatever. But, like, this could be such a great workaround, And there's other games like that, too, that could take advantage of it and just be really freaking fun. I'll go, like, my favorite game, Dead by Daylight. It'll be so fun to play it on Switch, too, with all of us being able to see each other's feeds. Yeah. It would suck for the killer, because, sorry, I'm going off a tangent here. The killer, like, would have no idea that we're all perfectly able to see where everyone is. But that'd be amazing, So I'm ready for this.
I find it funny that most of your tangents eventually resolve when you go into Dead by
Daylight. Still raise up thanks for Dead by Daylight.
Yes, there's no in between there for some reason.
Games that wouldn't work too well are like NSO games that require split screen for multiplayer. Can you imagine that playing like F-Zero GX and having all those screens.
Oh my God.
They would just be duplicates of everyone's same screen everywhere. That'd be
hilarious.
work.
Like it'd be super meta, but it'd be funny because most of those screens are like running at like 1/8 the actual game's frame rate. You know? Oh man. Oh, by the way, real quick, not to go off on a tangent here, but it was seeing the GameCube NSO stuff. Finally, thank God, looks great, and also the fact that from what I could tell, F-Zero GX runs at I think a perfect frame rate, unlike F-Zero X on N64, which still doesn't run right. I don't know how they haven't fixed that yet. So
wait, does it really not? I guess I played it like a handful of times and I never noticed it.
It drops
Next time I play it, I'm
frames
gonna notice
randomly.
it,
It's sporadic, and it's not a perfect 60. Whereas on N64, the freaking N64, it ran at 60 frames per second flawlessly.
I mean, two things about that. One, they are renaming Nintendo Switch Online to Nintendo Classics.
Wait.
Oh wait, is
so they
Europe?
at the bottom text in the trailer for they're renaming everything called Nintendo Switch Online to, in that sense, to Nintendo Classics.
For the games, you mean?
Yes,
that actually makes perfect sense.
Games.
But they've had, it's been actually very confusing referring to them. Like I've been like the NSO Super NES app or something.
I say virtual console games, but they're not virtual console games.
So from Switch 2 launch, they will be called Nintendo GameCube, Nintendo Classics. Which is equally also confusing.
It is, yeah, it kind of is, of course. But I think as a general brand, that kind of makes sense. But
yeah. And secondly, this was sort of waved away, but apparently with Switch 2, N64 is getting a rewind feature.
Oh, that's nice.
What is
Good.
it?
Rewind. You can rewind
the
game.
Rewind. Yeah. Oh my God.
It's the only system I believe to not have it now. And apparently it's because I was looking into this. Because the way Rewind works is just literally saving the game state for every single frame. So it's literally like saving all the game logic and everything, all the memory for that. But with 64, for as much memory as Switch has, you actually eat up the space real fast. So that makes sense why it's a Switch 2 feature. So yeah,
that would be so useful. I cheated so many times just to reloading a save in Banjo-Kazooie on was it Rusty Bucket Bay or whatever. When you're in
you have to experience my pain of grabbing all 100 notes on your single run through. And I don't care if you die in the Super Propeller Room 1,000 times, Nick. You have violated the sanctity of what is the horrible Banjo-Kazooie experience of that level.
No, I was just like, no, I'm resetting. Every time I fell off, nope, I'm resetting.
That's funny.
Yeah, but to have that rewind feature in some of those N64 games like Banjo-Kazooie, oh my God, that would be... It's awesome that it's coming to Switch too.
Yeah, it is, Yeah, and GameCube great in general, and especially because, Nick, I think you have a short about this right now.
Yeah.
It finally allows us to take advantage of a feature some games had 20 freaking years ago, being widescreen, which back then almost no one had a widescreen TV. Now we do. We can finally reap those benefits 20 years later, which is awesome. So yeah, that's great.
The widescreen coming in from just those games supporting it just 20 years ago is amazing. But the one thing that they didn't change was the stupid border. So like even Wind Waker doesn't have the widescreen support. It's like, why can't I customize the borders? Why is it still just black?
Let me just turn it off. Let me just turn it off. Yeah, why can't this be black? Like Super Game Boy had border features 30 years ago. So we got another super chat here from Elemental Iguana, who says, I'm fine playing $59.99 for Switch 2 exclusive games, but $80 is asking way too much. Yeah, I think that's where we're at. I think we all agree. Nintendo really needs to offer clarity on this. Again, I think the way they kind of swept it under the rug was the worst thing they could have done. They really should address it head on and give us an idea of what to expect. Maybe they didn't, because maybe the future really is the worst case scenario where they're aiming for $80 for most of their big games. Again, DK is for now like an exception. It's only $70, which I think more people will be understanding of. That's becoming a more common price point, and even Nintendo flirted with it with Tears of the Kingdom. I will say again, for Mario Kart, if you buy the bundle, that actually seems really reasonable to me. You get basically $50 with a Switch 2. That's great, but again, that doesn't help anyone who doesn't get a who doesn't go that route. They get Switch 2 separately, and or they can't get the Switch 2 bundle or whatever reason it may be. That sucks for them. And $80 is a steep price to ask for any game. But again, if there were any game to kind of justify that price, it's a game I could spend 600 hours with again, probably. Maybe even more this time.
That reminds me, I do want to talk about this because we talked about Game Chat and we talked about NSO, but Game Share.
Yeah, Game Share. They kind of just briefly went over that, and I think they did because there's only a few games that they're doing it with launch, and so for some reason they keep pushing Clubhouse games. Like that was on the list. This is like what Clubhouse is 3D World. It's just a weird list.
Listen here. Clubhouse Games 51 World My Classics is my most played Switch game.
Wow.
And that's
Oh,
and that's not a joke. I
Yeah.
play a lot of local matches and online with family and friends.
Yeah, hey, I respect that. It's actually a good value actually. 50 games, right? Yeah, 51 games, right?
Yeah,
It's in the name. Duh.
Yeah. But the fact that I can now play also like a bunch of the card games for Game Share without them ever owning a copy of the game, and also do that online through Game Chat, that actually makes me more excited about Game Chat.
Yeah, no, dude, I fully agree. That is actually an amazing feature. I'm actually shocked Nintendo's doing this because I thought for sure they just want everyone to buy their own copies of the game again when needed. But I think, especially in games where, it's unlikely your friends are going to have that copy, like, in many cases, Clubhouse 51 Classics, right? Like, it appeals to some people, but not everyone. That makes so much freaking sense. It's much like the DS, the sharing feature DS had and even GBA had. And it's so great. And I really hope Nintendo uses it in other games too. What else did they show off with other games? I can't remember.
There was 4 games on the list. I believe it was like Captain Toad, it was Clubhouse, it was 3D World, Bowser's Fury, and then the last one was Odyssey, which was a strange pick.
Yeah, that's a weird one. You think you play as Cappy?
Yeah, that's it, right?
Play as Cappy, yeah. But for Bowser's from 3D World and 51 World games, I think it makes so much sense to do that stuff with.
Like, I hope they expand it. I think it's a great idea, and it
should.
Does, and it's another way of showing like the Switch 2 adds value, and that there are some really good features there that kind of do help justify the higher price. Again, I think hardware-wise, it's totally fine. I think if Nintendo had stuck with $450 and then gone with the typical price point for the other games, even maybe up to $70 for Mario Kart, I don't think they'll be in the poop storm they're in now. I think the fact that you have the console price combined with the $80 price point is what's really sending people off. It was just one or the other.
Yeah.
I'd rather, if it were just a hardware, it would have been fine. The software prices was really killing it, and the hardware price isn't helping in that sense either. So
it's just a combination of things.
Yeah, it is.
And once again, we still need to wait how much actual upgrade packs are going to be, and how much like actual Switch 2 edition game costs. But that's like the final piece of that puzzle before we have a really clear picture of what pricing is going to look like in the future.
Yeah, I believe here in the States, I don't know where I saw it from. Maybe it was Best Buy, but I saw like the Mario Party Jamboree plus Jamboree TV, the Switch 2 edition. I think it was like $80. So are we just assuming that like the upgrade pass is going to be like $20? I think that's the same pricing for Kart.
I think that's
reasonable. I think it's $80 for the Switch 2 edition. But again, if you want to buy the game by itself for just Switch 1, it's $60. So
hold up.
I think the best thing to think is maybe those games are going to be an extra $20 increase.
I wonder then if Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, who both are 70 here in this region, are then going to be 90 at retail.
So for the US, I believe Breath of the Wild 70, Switch 2 edition, and then Tears of the Kingdom's 80. So they went up $10.
That makes sense. Well, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
I want to talk, you guys remind me a couple things. I want to talk more a little bit about those extended edition games, but also the box arts. But before we get to all that, we got a couple more super chats to get through, and I want to give a quick update on a couple things too. Geary Love, I'm so sorry if I mispronounced that, says, R.I.P. Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD for the Switch 2 with the GameCube NSO. Yeah, my indication is likely that they're probably not coming anytime soon, at least. Because we see Mario vs. Donkey Kong, or Mario and Donkey Kong, whatever, didn't come to NSO because they had the remake coming up. It's still not on there. The fact that these are coming suggests to me that, or at least Wind Waker, that we're not seeing the HD versions anytime soon. And that sucks because they are almost objectively better, in my opinion. I mean, for me, like, objectively better. But not for everyone.
Swift Cell.
Yeah, exactly.
The only weird exception to the NSO stuff, or like seeing these GameCube games being remade for Switch, is that Sunshine is coming to the GameCube NSO, but you can't buy it anymore. It was part of the 3D collection, so we did play it in better resolution. I think that one was widescreen, but again, it's coming to the NSO GameCube expansion. So maybe we see those later, but again, Thousand Year Door, that was another GameCube game that came out last year with a remake. I don't think it's coming to GameCube NSO. Prime Remastered, I don't think that's coming to GameCube NSO. And then again, like everyone's hopes for Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD. We just saw Wind Waker as the first game for GameCube NSO. Yeah, I don't know if that's coming anymore.
If it is, it won't be for the distant future. Yeah, like not for years from now. But because why would you? I mean, they're very similar games. Why would you bother picking up the HD remake, even though it's infinitely more playable in my opinion because of Dawn said the Swift sale. Another super chat, Antonio Bello. Thank you. Thanks to everyone for the super chats and just being here. If you think they're holding off, do you think they're holding off on Smash Brothers Melee or Melee? People always get on me for pronouncing it. I'm sorry.
Melee.
I believe if they put Melee in NSO, the Switch 2 would be an instant buy for lots of people. That's a good point. What do we think? Where is Melee at?
So wait, the better question is we have to go back to NSO N64. Where's Smash Bros. 64? That's not even on the game.
Yeah, where is that one at?
Like I think we have to get that first, and then we could talk about Melee.
I think it's a good point.
We could just talk about them both at the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. You're right. Do you think could they be holding off for any reason, or do you think it'll just be like it's just an exciting update they'll have at some point?
To me, it's weird that there's like no news on Smash whatsoever, considering how popular the franchise is to begin with. The fact that they're not doing anything, for example, on even the software update end to improve like performance on Smash Ultimate, or not even talk about potentially adding Melee to GameCube NSO is weirdly telling, because it means that they don't want to talk about Smash at the moment,
Right.
but they should talk about Smash at the moment. It's one of their most selling franchises.
Yeah. I'm a little surprised that they didn't announce a future Smash Brothers without Sakurai even knowing again, right? That's the key. Like, you need that. You need that.
That would be really funny. That would be really funny.
he would have been. He would tweet, be like, "Oh, I'm so excited that my game was there today, Kirby Air Ride." But then I'm also working on a new game that I had no idea about.
Sakurai's been secretly working on Smash Brothers without even knowing it himself. He did like he did a severance procedure. He has no idea. All right.
Also, NSO controller for GameCube.
Oh my god, I'm so hyped. My favorite controller of all time. Better than ever now, because you get the benefits of the Wavebird without the weird Wavebird form factor of the battery pack and the Rumble. It's so good. I'm so hyped.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And I hope more games support it. You know, I would love if you like all the Smash will support it, but I hope they go back.
I mean, usually
I don't know if you saw this, but on the list of compatible accessories from Switch 1 to Switch 2, the GameCube adapter is compatible.
Yeah.
They confirmed that.
Good.
So I think the GameCube, as long as we can change it wise, I guess the control wise, I think it's going to work on most games.
I just had a brain fart about this. That means that if you connect 4 GameCube controllers through the adapter, you can also connect 4 NSO GameCube controllers for Smash Ultimate 8 player.
Oh my god, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's that. I think it's back then, Don. So.
We're so back.
Yeah, we're
so back.
All right, we got some more super chats and member chats. We got to catch up on. I'm sorry, sorry for not getting them sooner. Craig says Mario RPG also didn't come to NSO. That's another great point. Exactly. That proves, I think, that Wind Waker HD is not coming anytime soon. We also have Brian who says, "Do you think Switch 2 is worth it?" I think hardware-wise, I think Nintendo did a good job justifying that price. Again, it's a software that's really the issue. For me, I'm going to buy both. Obviously, I need to cover for one. Even if I weren't, I'd be covering, I would love to play Mario Kart anyway. But I understand not everyone is hardcore of a fan as we are, and I can understand why that'd be a big concern. And especially because, again, I said before, I think Mario Kart 8 or Mario Kart World is kind of like the one game that kind of justifies that price. But if they start applying that to every other game, like games that you won't be playing hundreds of hours for, that's a big problem. Like, if Donkey Kong were $80, like Donkey Kong, I think that would be a very bad sign of things to come. So we just don't know which way Nintendo's going to go. God, Super Chats are coming hot and fast now. Thanks everyone for all these. Melm, I think, says, didn't Nintendo mention a new voucher system coming? Did they? Did they say new vouchers coming?
They said that they were canceling that along with the gold point system for each shop, but
no,
they never said
they're not
replacing.
canceling it. They're not adding it to Switch 2.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a new replacement for that coming soon, especially based on these price reactions. We'll just have to wait and see. I think Nintendo, for whatever reason, want to distance themselves from the voucher program specifically. Iggy with a big super chat. Thank you, Iggy. Says, with GameCube games coming to NSO, the Sonic game availability on Nintendo platforms could skyrocket significantly. It could even surpass the Xbox Series X and S as a console with the most Sonic games on it. Great point.
Could be.
Yeah, that's the place to play Sonic, like basically nearly the whole library game. So like with NSO GameCube, I'm hoping that we get Sonic Heroes, I'm hoping we get Sonic Adventure 1 DX and Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, because they're not playable on any modern Nintendo consoles today.
Right. Yeah, no, 100%. This could be the ultimate Sonic system, right? Which is good timing with Sonic Racing Crossroads coming up, which, dear God, I feel bad for that game.
Rest in peace.
I think they also announced the port for Switch 2 of Sonic X Shadow Generations.
Oh yeah,
Oh, did they?
that would be amazing.
Or-
I haven't
Yeah,
seen anything
so
about it.
they did it in a PR email from Sega. They announced
Oh,
5 games. So that's the only game they didn't show during the Switch 2
Why the hell
presentation.
would it not show that off? That's a big game. What? What?
yeah, that's a
What?
big deal.
I don't get that. Or maybe they know. Maybe they know it can carry itself. Maybe they don't have to announce it. But I didn't know about it, so I don't know.
I didn't
mean,
either.
I mean, they did show Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S, which is only adding one new mode for full price.
Okay, I don't care. That game's amazing. Okay, so or any of the
Okay, it is amazing.
yeah.
But I can also buy a Switch copy.
Yeah,
for
that's true.
$15.
Good point. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Jerry Rare Bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to endorse the that trend. Jerry Rare Bear with a super chat again. Thank you. Says I'm glad people are talking about DK again, but it's actually positive this time. Tropical Freeze got a lot of flack back in the day for not being Metro Prime 4 Returns HD. Oh, sorry, got a lot of flack back in the day for not being Metro Prime 4. Yes, Returns HD seemed even more hated. You know, I will be fully honest. I was not on the hater train. I was more on the surprise train. Why are they showing off another DK game? Little did I know I was a complete fool, and they end up making one of the best DK games of all time. So it's so great to see DK back in the limelight, both in the in the Mario movie, Donkey Kong, or the Mario Kart arcade game, and the brand new Donkey Kong game, which looks bananas, so to speak. Which, by the way, I now realize that's not the title. I told that was Donkey Kong Bananas. It's Bonanza, which is really clever,
Bonanza,
actually.
yeah.
We'll get more to that soon. By the way, there's so much to talk about. We'll get to the DK specific discussion soon. But I 100% agree with you, Jer Rare Bear. Moving on, another super chat from Christian Country Boy who says, "Bring back cardboard boxes. Look good on my shelf." Are we talking Labo here, or what are we talking about?
That might be just the good cardboard boxes. Maybe how the Switch 2 boxes look, because there's just so much.
Like
empty
the
space
old
at
like
the top.
N64 boxes or something. Yeah, I hear that.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. I was
Yeah.
thinking like just how the Switch 2 boxes look.
Okay. Dubious Food to the super chat says, "Bro, these game boxes are going to look so weird on my shelf." Yeah, we haven't touched on that yet, but those game can we be real? They're ugly. Like, okay, hold on. That's a real crime here. If I'm paying $80 for a Switch 2 game, it better look freaking good. And that box art is atrocious. The giant red border. What the hell are they thinking?
Yeah, it takes up like 1/3 of the actual box. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, let me see my game. I have to look all the way down. It's like, no, just keep it simple like the Switch 1. Just move it off to the side.
It reminds me of the Xbox One boxes, because they used to have an entire strip at the the top where they had Xbox One engraved at the top,
Yeah.
and then they had another logo for Xbox One and then the game. It reminds me of that, with them taking the entire slide at the top.
Wow. It's even worse. I don't know how it looked on that system, but it's even worse on Nintendo, or rather, it's bad on Nintendo too, because they're not even using that red bar properly. It's a tiny little Switch 2 logo, you know? And it's so weird. I mean, I guess they were stuck with a weird logo, but they don't want Nintendo Switch to be the biggest thing you see. But yeah, super weird. Moving on, Red Gravity with more pricing concerns. They say in the super chat, I'm telling you, Nintendo's testing the waters for the Smash Bros. $100 announcement. Do we think there's a chance that happens?
I mean, after DLC, it's going to be over $100, but base game being $100, I can't see it.
I don't see 100, but it would be horrible. But I didn't see $80 coming either. I will say I don't think it's likely, but again, I didn't think 80 was likely either. I think 90 is possible. I don't think 90 is out of the question. If they end up delivering a game that's Ultimate and more, I could see Nintendo saying, we are going to charge $90 for this. But I do agree with you by largely, I don't think they would. But again, I don't think they do 80 either, so. Yeah. We had some more member chats here, so thanks again to all our super chatters and YouTube members. Appreciate it. Being a YouTube member gets you all kinds of benefits, including early access and some exclusive videos and all kinds of other things. So William says same thing happened with Sonic Superstars. The game announced and then Mario Wonder dropped. I know.
Yeah.
Sega keeps screwing themselves up with their game timings. Had Sonic come out, the new Sonic Racing game came out a year ago, it could have been huge. People were getting sick of Mario Kart, but now here we are with Nintendo basically doing a similar concept to Sonic, Cross Worlds, but kind of even better. And that really sucks for Sonic. I feel bad. That's a great game. I had fun playing it.
The thing is, it's going to be sandwiched between Kirby Air Riders and Mario Kart. That's the thing. Like Mario Kart coming out in June, Kirby Air Riders is coming out later this year. And did you guys see on the official Sonic the Hedgehog YouTube channel in their post column, they made a post saying, like, I don't know the official thing, but they were like, oh, played the only the only racing game featuring Sonic the Hedgehog that was like talked about today. Like the quote was like, "Oh my god, this was directed at."
That is hilarious. Some people got on Sega's case. I'm like, no, that's funny. Come on, they know they're the underdog in this case. Let them have their fun, right? You know, because okay, no matter what, Sonic's going to sell some amount of units, right? But also on the other end of the spectrum, its legs are absolutely going to be cut off by Mario Kart. Like its potential is going to be destroyed by Mario Kart, and that really is unfortunate. But I had a lot of fun with the playtest or whatever.
What if they do this? What if they also make a joke and say, "Oh, Sonic's half the price"? They make it $40.
That will be bold. That would honestly be bold. Like even 50 would be pretty good. If they come in at freaking 40, that's sending a message. Like that would be amazing.
The last one was 40. Sonic Team Sonic Racing was $40.
But the difference is this game's actually good.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, 100%.
I will say I don't want to talk too much about games with Mario Kart. Yeah. I already coined the phrase "they Forza Horizon Mario Kart."
Yeah, they did. It's just what's that? Yeah, it's right for Forza Horizons. Exactly. This is Mario Kart Horizons.
Paradise.
And we'll get in.
By the way, I'm not saying that there's a bad thing. I freaking love Forza Horizon, so please do more like that, please.
We'll talk more about this very soon. We'll have a whole Mario Kart segment. Don't worry, guys. Craig says, what about Sonic Advance Trilogy and Battle on GBA NSO? Yeah, that's even more reasons for why it's going to be the ultimate Sega system, right?
Well, if they do it.
Oh, if they do it, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Sonic Advance, for some reason, only came out on Wii U, only in Japan.
Mm-hmm. That's strange. I don't get that.
That is odd. I didn't even know it did, because I just assume it never released anywhere besides the actual Game Boy Advance.
We didn't even touch on, by the way, the weird Japanese thing they're doing with the system, the Switch 2 over there, with the Switch 2 exclusive.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get to that in a second. Got more super chats. London Link, thank you, says Mario Kart World is what Diddy Kong Racing 2 should have been. Oh my god, you're right. That basically did the whole interconnected idea to a degree, before anyone else, so... we got another super chat here from Loop Ruiz. Says, does the GameCube controller have an auxiliary input or output? I guess they're asking, right? Or I guess before
input. Yeah, that's just like the one on the Pro Controller. I don't think so.
It should.
I don't think it has.
Oh, that's too bad. It actually should.
So
it has a C button, like for headphones or voice chat.
That's for an in-jack.
Oh, wait, the Pro Controller? Are you saying?
No. The GameCube controller.
Oh, the GameCube. Yeah, I don't think it does.
No, I don't think it does.
We had another super chat from Zach, though the message was retracted. Sorry, Zach. If we were able to see a follow-up comment you want, we'll try to read it. But there's so many chat messages, it's hard to see everything. But thank you for the super chat regardless. All right. We're fully caught up right now in super chats. Thank you so much, everyone. And we're happy to read any more. And also, I love addressing chat on whatever level I can, but the super chats and memberships are the easiest ones to see, and there's a lot of chats. Anyways, real quick, just a couple quick things. Again, we'll be having game-focused discussions very soon, so stay tuned. Are we doing good on time, by the way? We're probably gonna go over our 90-minute barrier. We're good? Okay, good. All right. Good. Furthermore, if you want to chat more with the community, including myself and I think Nick and Don as well, go ahead and join the GameXplain 2.0 Discord. We launched a new Discord recently as part of our rebranding for our 15th anniversary. I just linked to it in the chat. Please go follow it there. Lots of great people there. Lots of good discussions happening, especially with the Switch 2 now. That lit a firestorm and then an ignition on that chat. It's been great. So I posted it again in the chat. Follow it there. And yeah, was there anything else? I think, and if you want to support us in other ways, Patreon is a great way of doing it, or becoming, again, a YouTube member. It's same benefits across both. Bowser Jr. with the super chat says, pre-orders on April 9th for Switch 2 and Mario Kart World game key cards are mostly for certain third-party titles, and forgot Tom was Canadian. That's right. So although Tom's in Japan right now, so I don't know how the prices in Japan compare to Canadian prices, but
Tom did bring up that the consoles might be region locked now. Didn't he say that there was a Japanese exclusive?
There's yes and there's a no answer to this. So if you buy it in stores in Japan, the console will only allow Japanese Nintendo accounts and only support system-wide the Japanese language. That doesn't mean you cannot play games in other languages, but you can only play the system menu and its core features in Japanese. Now, there is a multi-language version available in Japan, but the only way you can get this is A, through lottery, B, having a Japanese account still, and C, you need to buy it exclusively through the My Nintendo store in Japan.
Wow. Yeah,
there's so many loopholes to go through.
So wait, so to be clear, are you still able to buy international games, or do you have to buy it from the Japanese version of the store?
I'm not sure about if I think if you buy the Japanese version of the store, it's mostly going to based on. I mean, you can still play games on it, like cartridge games. I think, imagine no matter what. But if you want to link it to something, it needs to be through a Japanese My Nintendo account.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to link it, including Japan, it needs to be an international console.
Wow.
So they're doing a weird two-tiered system in Japan.
That's super weird. And have they announced an upgrade plan for if you buy the Japanese only one? Can you eventually upgrade to the non-Japan exclusive one or to the international one, or no?
No, you have
That
to buy them
sucks.
separately.
That's a crappy part. Like, I kind of understand it, even though it's very weird. But I would understand it if you had the option of upgrading later if you wanted to change your mind. It
Also-
really, Don.
Yeah. Also, there's 20,000 yen difference between the two.
That sounds like a big amount.
Yeah.
It's $200, right? I think, or probably more now with the exchange rate.
That's roughly. It's roughly 100.
Was it only 100?
80. Yeah. Yeah, about 80. Yeah.
80? Really? That's less than I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. I thought.
But yeah, I mean, the yen is not all that strong anymore. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you buy the Japanese version, it's far cheaper than the international one. If you buy the international version from the My Nintendo store in Japan, it's basically the same price as here in Europe and slightly above the American price.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. So it's a little unfortunate. I mean, I guess on the one hand it's good that they're providing options, you know. On the other hand, it kind of sucks and get stuck with a console that may be a problem in the future, right? So, and there's no way to get out of that without buying another system. So, Connor, I see Connor's very active. They're very curious about what Kirby characters do you want to see be in the roster for Kirby Air Riders. Man, because we saw nothing of this game. We saw nothing. Like, the hype is purely based on two things: its mere existence and how good it looks, you know. And that, to be fair, looks amazing so far. Although I don't know if that was actually in-game gameplay or just a pre-rendered cutscene. So
yeah, to go off of that question, the super chat before, a couple super chats ago from Zach, my friend Zach actually dropped the super chat,
nice.
but we couldn't see it for some reason. So he texted me. No, it did come through, but it got redacted, I believe. So what he was trying to say was, which kind of leads to this, he was thinking that since we didn't see any Nintendo characters in Mario Kart World, such as like Link or Villagers or Inkling that were Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, that those characters might be coming to like Kirby Air Ride to kind of push Kirby Air Ride a little bit more. That Sakurai might make that kind of like the Smash Kart game instead of Mario Kart.
It's an interesting thought. I just knowing how that game looks, it's hard to imagine it working with too many characters. I could maybe see a handful, perhaps, like, you know, maybe Kid Icarus or Pit, I guess, maybe. Like, maybe, I'm trying to think of the others. But then you had the whole, you know, power-based system where you're inhaling these things, right?
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, but wait, if you play DDD or Meta Knight, I don't think they can inhale, right? Yeah, so they're just by themselves.
No, DDD can inhale.
DDD can, but Meta Knight can't. Meta Knight has a sword.
I think it must have just absorbed it. Yeah, I guess you're right. It's been so long since I played it. You're probably right. I almost always play Kirby, so.
Yeah, so, and I guess the Meta Knight thing goes to Pit, too, because Pit wouldn't be able to absorb, but he has his wings. And Meta Knight doesn't fly on the Air Rider or the Warp Star. He just flies around with his wings.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about it. God, that game. Yeah. Man, I need to play that game more. Like, I've played it so much. I love that game. And maybe it's time. Maybe it's a good time to shift over to our game-specific discussions. Do you think soon, or?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Real quick though, some people are saying they weren't able to get into the Discord. It worked for a lot of people. Let me get another link though here, just in case.
It was able to get me there, but again, I'm already in the Discord, so.
Yeah, I don't know. God, some people have been mentioning they've had weird issues with it not working. Let me put in. Okay, this one will have 100 uses. This one should definitely work. So chat, try this. Wait, what can I? Where'd my little chat box go? Hold on. Now everything's acting up for me. What the heck? What the heck? And I see a super chat. We'll read soon. Oh, I see it.
Yeah, I already had the chat run out of memory twice during the stream.
Really? Oh my god. All right. There we go. Try that link, chat. That should hopefully work. They'll get into our new Discord, which is kind of like a much simpler version of the previous Discord we ran. I wanted to make it more community focused, and so hopefully you enjoy that. Hopefully that link works. Anyways, we've got Super Chat. That acts as a perfect segue now into, I think, some of our game-specific stuff. And you have switched 2 questions along the way, chat. Feel free to let us know. We can address more at the end. But this super chat from Mango Tree says, "Hello, want to say I've followed this channel ever since it was made. I respect you guys so much. Have talked about Age of Imprisonment. I'm excited." Well, first off, thank you so much, Mango Tree, for the super chat, the kind words, and for being a fan all this time. I love hearing it from old-time fans. It's always great because we've been around for 15 years now, which is freaking wild to me. And Don's been here for much of that time, and of course Nick's
Yeah,
been...
our last discussion was I think about 2 weeks ago for Smash on Switch 2, or what Sakurai is doing, and I mentioned it like this week is like like 11 years ago, the first time I was on the channel.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's nuts. So, anyway, so yeah, thank you again. But talking specifically about Age of Imprisonment, because that's not a game I expected to see, and I think for a demographic, they're really excited. Like Nick down here.
Yeah.
Nick, or I guess over there with how I framed it up here. Nick, tell us about your hype for this game.
I am very excited for multiple reasons for this. One, I did not expect a third installment for a Warriors game, but if you're looking back at it, I guess it makes a little bit more sense because we did get the first Hyrule Warriors on Wii U, and then we got the sequel, Age of Calamity, on Switch. So I guess it does make sense that those did relatively well, that they're going to continue with that. I was expecting a Warriors game here at the Direct. I was not expecting a new Zelda one. But again, like if you look at it, it makes sense because Hyrule Warriors or Age of Calamity was a prequel to Breath of the Wild, and this is also going to be a prequel to Tears of the Kingdom. So with that, I'm super excited. Go ahead, Andre.
Sorry, real quick. There's another way it makes complete sense, because the two best ways of showing out the increased power of Switch 2, Korok versus Breath of the Wild, and freaking Warriors games.
Yeah, right? And that's the thing, that I have super high hopes because, like, yeah, this should be able to run at 60 frames. I think it's definitely going to have a quality mode or a performance mode, because actually Fire Emblem Warriors on the Switch had a performance mode and quality mode, which I don't think a lot of people knew. I played it this year for the first time. I went into options like, wait, what the heck? I could play this in 60 frames or have better resolution. I was like, wait, what? For a year one Switch game? I'm like, that was crazy. But yeah, to get back to Age of Imprisonment, I'm so excited for it. I hear that there's not going to be Switch 2 editions for Age of Calamity or for any other Warriors games, which is a bummer because I really do enjoy those, and I want to play those in co-op at 60. But seeing this game and seeing all the enemies on screen was kind of insane. So I have high hopes for Age of Imprisonment.
I'm excited because it actually is a canonical story, so it's actually going to tell the story that leads up to Tears of the Kingdom, which is going to be real interesting.
Yeah, unlike the last game, which wasn't canonical, right?
No, it wasn't at the
so
same
weird.
time.
It was canonical within its universe, but not the Breath of the Wild universe, which makes no sense.
It was basically set as an alternative timeline,
right?
Similar to how the second Fire Emblem one was also. It was also set in the main universe, but also a complete alternative timeline. But yeah, this is going to be a canonical story, which A is exciting, and B, it's going to have more story than Tears of the Kingdom.
It doesn't take much to top Tears of the Kingdom story, where they told you the same freaking story 4 times in a row.
Actually, 5 times.
5 times? Oh my god, I forgot about that. Jeez. That was hilarious.
On top of Age of Imprisonment, we're getting new amiibos this year for Zelda. They're bringing the 4 champions, and I guess the 5th one from Tears of the Kingdom. I can't remember her name. That has like the mech. But that's coming at a later date, I think they said. But yeah, to see more Zelda amiibos, and these ones look amazing. I do love the champions. I prefer the champions from Breath of the Wild, but seeing these ones from Tears of the Kingdom is
we get Sidon as an amiibo. Come on.
I was looking at all 4 of them. Like, oh, Sidon's my man. He's my number 1 pick out of the 4.
But then, and at the other side, I'm also saying this because we shouldn't go too much into this, but King Rauru playable.
I'm excited for that too.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry, were you checking your amiibo there, Don?
No.
Did you? Sorry, what were you? Did you show something there or no?
No, I was doing this.
Oh god, okay, sorry. Yeah, you're cut off on the frame. I did, so I couldn't quite see what you were doing. So I thought you were showing something.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah, we're vertical on our stream. So, all right, we had a couple of comments here before we move on to the next game we wanted to discuss, and one of them is, where was it? It was a good one. I thought it was. Oh, I lost it. I'll try to find it. But we got a super chat from Melm. Thank you, Melm, who says, I need an Australian console to play games before US launch now due to regional lock. I don't think...
no.
Yeah, there's no... As far as we know, the regional lock thing, it only applies to that one Japanese console, right? There's nowhere else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because basically the rest of the world is getting one SKU, which is just the same everywhere.
Right.
For some reason, Japan is doing 2 differently, which apparently they also discussed randomly during their version of the Direct. like, if you want to buy the international one, you have to go through the My Nintendo store. I'm like, okay, but you still need to have a Japanese account, huh?
Yeah, right. Thank God they're not
Yeah,
going back to how it used to work. I own 3 freaking Wii U's. I own the Japanese one, the
I did
American
too.
one, yeah, and
I
and what was the third one I bought? Was it Australian or I don't remember. It wasn't
like
Australian.
like I had free Wii U's, free 3DSs.
3DSs, yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Free
European. It was probably
Wii's.
European that I had. Yeah, Japanese, European, and North American.
American, yeah.
God, I had this ugly stack of Wii U's. It was hideous. Jesus.
And on top of that, you had 3 gamepads.
Yes,
Yeah?
they're not compatible with each other. So I'm like, which gamepad's which? It's so confusing.
I had to put stickers on them, yeah.
Yeah, I should have done that. That's a smart thing to do. I found the
Yeah.
chat, by the way, it's Major Hurricane. It says, I remember watching GX back in the Wii U era. So speaking of Wii U's, that old intro slapped so hard. Oh, we're talking about Wizard is the one that's what, like, GameXplain, like, had the lighting going behind it? Was that it?
I try to make the sound effect of it.
Yeah.
Or are you talking about the one where the giant blue GX logo appeared and then did something? I actually did the very first logo, the animated lighting one with it, and it was pretty good for what I knew how to do back then. But I think our logo's definitely improved since then.
That's very kind to yourself.
Yeah, thank you. It's I like to be. All right. Almangello says that Zelda Super where she rewound time on the weapon was hype. Oh, and
Yeah.
Warriors.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
So sick.
I really look forward to that, legitimately. Like,
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what abilities that they actually bring over from Tears of the Kingdom into this one. Because the Tears of the Kingdom abilities, I'm thinking like, wait, how are they going to have, what's the one, Ascend work in a warrior scheme? Because you just go through
Right.
the floor.
I also hope that Sonya and the other Guardians are playable, but I imagine they have to. They need to have a somewhat of a roster.
They do. Yeah. All right, let's move on to another game. So I think, chat, just to give you I think we'll save Mario Kart for the last, but we'll probably talk about a lot, I think. So let's talk about another game real quick. Kirby Air Riders, my bad. We touched on it a little bit briefly. There's not a whole lot to discuss because they showed almost nothing for it, just merely the fact that it exists and it's coming out this year, because the teaser they showed is definitely like the kind of teaser you'd usually expect for a game much down the line. But yeah, Don?
I don't think you say it with enough gravitas. I'll give it to you, Andre, once straight. They're making another Kirby's Air Ride.
You're right. And if you watched our stream, you saw my reaction to it. I never expected this. I am so hyped. I honestly thought we would never see Kirby Air Ride again. And the fact that it's coming as a direct freaking sequel from Sakurai.
I felt the same.
Yeah,
I thought it was never happening.
it was an impossible sequel.
My major issue with Kirby Air Ride, which I hope they fix with the sequel, is just more content. Right? Because like playing City Trial is such a blast, but playing through, I think there's only like a handful of stages and a handful of like unlocks that you can do. Like when you compare it to, I was going to compare it to like Sonic Riders, but still, there's not even a lot of content in that. Like I just hope it's a little bit beefier, so I'm playing it for years to come.
It's to that point, Nick. It's so funny because I think there's a lot of wait, did my headphones die? No, it's still working. Okay.
I can still hear you.
Yeah,
Okay,
thanks. There's a lot of hype for, or there's been a lot of like love and hype for Kirby Air Ride over the years, of course. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chad. Maybe I'm off base here. Like for me, I love that game, but I love it for one reason, and that is City Trial. I freaking adore City Trial. The racing I thought was kind of mid. You know, like it worked within the context of City Trial. On its own, not that great. Not like a whole lot of skill expression there. Like the game basically played itself.
Yeah. I love the idea of it,
Yes.
but it felt like luster in its execution.
Yeah, and
a
it was,
little bit.
yeah, it was charming, it was cute, like it was fun for
Yeah.
what it was. If it were just that, it would have been disappointing. It also had that top-down mode, which is kind of cool.
never
but
played
almost
that one.
Yeah, I never played it either, right? City Trial, though, was a freaking banger. And so what I hope are two things. One, City Trial has a major focus here. Bigger environments, or maybe even a giant open world again, but maybe it's sectioned off into things, or maybe not sectioned off. I don't even know. More than 4 players, hopefully. And like, I really hope that's kind of the big focus for this game. But of course, you still need the racing element too. But City Trial involves racing as well. And that my key thing is that I hope Sakurai, and I think he will, it's not a one-button game this time. It can't be a one-button game. You have to be like leaning into corners like naturally. I still love like the charging idea, but the braking kind of worked against it. So maybe you can work around that too. Basically, just be like Mario Kart's power sliding. That solves the problem, right?
Yes. But also, hopefully, City Trial Online.
Oh, yes! I mean, it has to be, Don. It has to be online.
No, it's not going to be online. It's going to be a game share focused game.
Oh my god, no.
So you have
Oh my
to share
God.
it with someone
It's
else.
local only, or like online with your 4 friends or whatever. No, I have big expectations. They did only show 4 racers in the trailer, which does make me a little concerned that maybe they're gonna keep it smaller scale, almost like an opposite Mario Kart. And I want to be clear, whatever Sakurai's doing here, I'm probably gonna love. But I do hope they're aiming broader for this, and that they're really. Obviously, they're hiding so much about this game. I don't think it's just going to be an upgraded version of the original. I think I have big expectations for this, and I think I expect there'll be at least 10. I'm thinking maybe 20 people in City Trial at once, and maybe they'll go even bigger. Maybe it could be like a 100 style game. But I think, or maybe it'll scale. Like maybe you can play with different amounts of people.
I'm thinking like even like a battle royale style like Fortnite where there's like a storm that comes in and it just pushes you to the center area of the map.
Yeah,
so there's
that'd be
just
great.
chaos going the entire time. Because if you remember City Trial, there's like little events that go on the whole time. It's like, oh, maybe there's like items are storming down, or your boost is constantly going, or there's like a boss that's coming in for a few minutes.
Yeah, I've actually had that thought. Like something that could maybe change it up a little bit is it actually might sound a little bit like Mario Kart now, where you have these battle portions where you're trying to power up yourself and get items, which also kind of almost felt like in a way a weird precursor to Fortnite, where you're in a big environment, you're trying to collect a lot of power-ups and stuff before your enemies do and get the best stuff, The difference is that you can kill your opponents at any time in that game, whereas in Kirby Air Ride, you still could, but they would just lose all their abilities, which almost in a sense is worse, because you had to go try and recollect everything. You can destroy people's vehicles, and they're completely rideless, which is hilarious. They're just running around.
Yeah.
But it was, sorry, I'm sorry.
Also,
Oh, sorry, Don. Sorry, I just want to get to my point. Hold that thought, Don, real quick. Actually,
Yeah,
go ahead, Don. I'll get back to my point. Sorry, continue.
What's also crazy is that this is the first Kirby game in years not made by HAL Laboratory.
Yeah, you're right. It's Bandai Namco we now know.
Yeah, it is
doing
Bandai Namco.
Yeah, their new specific Nintendo studio.
What if, in a crazy reversal, HAL is back to making Smash Brothers again?
Oh my god.
the ultimate turnaround. Oh man.
Oh man.
So sorry, my idea was that you'd have these battles for 3 minutes at a time or whatever, but then there's a pathway, like a route you have to follow to the next battle, and that's where like racing comes in, because if you have a faster kart or whatever, faster air ride, you're going to get there quicker, and you're going to get the first dibs on the next set of items. And that continues for maybe a third round, or you're racing again to the third area before you have the final challenge, the final game. But this time, I don't want it to be one challenge. I want at least 3 challenges. That way, if you get told, that way there's a better mix of your skills. That way, if it's a race, you don't get totally screwed if you don't have top speed. There's 2 more challenges that could be that would maybe work to your strengths, because you power up your system over it.
Yeah, I love that idea. I was actually playing Air Ride last weekend.
Yes!
Like, funny enough, I was playing that in F-Zero GX last weekend, and they're just both here at the Direct. But yeah, when I was playing City Trial last weekend, I think the mode that we got was the battle mode.
Yeah.
And like it was in such a small area, and I don't think I had anything equipped for battling. Even like my Warp Star wasn't ready for it. So like I was constantly just falling off and getting hit by everything.
It's so good. That game's amazing. Yeah, it's hilarious. I hope they retain like that charm while broadening and expanding it to whatever fits best for this new vision of it. Like I will be just a little disappointed if it is just kind of like the exact same. I'll still love it because I love it that much. I just want it back. But yeah, I do hope that they have more ideas in mind. I'm sure they will. Also, what's interesting is like Kirby Air Ride kind of invented achievements, I think. Like it was doing achievements before anyone was, where you had even before Smash Brothers, where wait, hold on, how does Smash Melee work?
So Melee had the trophies. It didn't have like the grid. It has the grid system.
So it had the grid system, and it worked. And I think it even gave you in-game notifications when you unlocked one, if I remember correctly. Kirby Air Ride invented achievements. So what would be fun is if they haven't announced if it somehow there is an OS level achievement system here on Nintendo, and maybe Kirby Air Ride would tie into it. That would be so perfect. I'm not expecting it, but yeah.
And the thing is, too, we're all in the same boat that this is going to be like a full price game. Like this isn't going to be one of the smaller Kirby titles, right? Like they just announced randomly, and it's like, oh, it's like $20 or $30 on the eShop. Like,
are you saying you want to be $80? Is that what you're saying,
No,
Nick?
I don't want it to be 80. I don't want it to be 80, but I'm saying I want it to be priced appropriately. That it's like a large game. Right. That it's not just like, oh, it's Kirby Air Riders is back, and the only thing is riding. Like they don't even have City Trial.
if they don't have City Trial, it's a DOA. It's dead on arrival. I think.
Yeah, it's gonna be a major problem.
I don't think there's a way in which there's not a City Trial here, because that would be such a massive mystery to why people love your game. You know, I think, chat, are we wrong? Let me do a vote. I gotta ask now. I gotta know for sure. Are we off base, or is City Trial the main reason to play? Okay, how do I want to phrase this? Why do you play Kirby Air Ride? Sorry, I have to read this out loud as I'm typing, otherwise I just can't focus. The races. Sorry, what?
People are seeing City Trial in chat right now.
Yeah. Okay.
City Trial is the reason to play.
City Trial, or hold on, I'll put 4 options here. City Trial.
4 options.
One.
No, I'm just gonna do 3. The top-down mode. I want to see if anyone votes for the top-down mode. Top-down mode, whatever it is.
I don't even know the name of it.
Yeah, no one knows. Not even Sakurai knows.
But if nobody knows, then nobody would choose it. That's my feeling about that.
All right, chat, you gotta vote. Let me know in the vote. It looks like chat is saying City Trial. Gueri Love says City Trial in all caps and all that. City Trial is winning by a huge margin right now, 73% versus everything else. But City Trial does such a great job of bringing everything together, except for Aranka, the top-down mode, which you would think in hindsight could have factored in too, you know. But
wait, guess what the name is of that mode?
It's something spin, I think. Top-down spin?
It's just top ride.
That's hilarious. Yep. That's funny. So 69% for City Trial right now. So that is really the main reason. Yep. Thanks, chat. How many people have voted? 66 votes. So I'll keep it going for a little bit here, just in case it changes. But Connor asks, since you guys are talking about Kirby Air Riders, what Kirby characters could we see in the roster? Oh yeah, we got sidetracked by that. We talked about Nintendo characters. I'll go and let you two answer. I'm gonna go get a drink real quick, because I'm sweating up a storm under these lights. So I'll be back in a moment. But enjoy.
Yeah, characters besides, I mean, the only characters that are playable in the actual one, the first one on GameCube, is the multiple color Kirby's, King Dedede, and Meta Knight, right? Like, I think it's only 3 characters.
Yes.
And you pick the other characters when you pick their board option, right? Like, if I want to play as Dedede, I pick his actual vehicle that he's riding on, right? Or if I pick Meta Knight, like, that's all it is in the options, right? So for characters, I think it'd be obvious, like Waddle Dee, right? Bandana D or whatever, like that's like the easy pick.
I think they also pull a lot of the allies from Star Allies, because they brought
I didn't even think about
them back. Yeah, so I think they have a good pool now to really use from Star Allies and put them all into one game. Make it feel very coherent.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, like we mentioned before, where Kirby sucks up and gets the powers, these other characters are just naturally going to have these powers, right? Like Meta Knight has a sword, Dedede sucks up the other opponents, but he doesn't get the powers from them.
Yes.
What's the little companion that's in Forgotten Land? I can't think of like your little partner.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I forget
it's like the little name. Or it's like
that's such a great. He 100%. I think 100% he gets in there. But also, related, we're going to see, I don't know if you touched on this, we're going to see Dedede's, do you think we'll see Dedede's new design here?
Elflin.
From Forgotten Land, 100%.
The only thing I wonder is, just because Sakurai, he didn't create that new design, you know, so do you think he could revert it, perhaps? Like, he has a sway, he could do it. Sakurai does what Sakurai wants, right? So...
It might depend on what the art style that they're going for. I mean, Kirby's going to look like Kirby no matter what. Same thing with Meta Knight, but like...
I still love the Brawl reveal trailer where every character you see the visual upgrade, Kirby's the exact same.
You see Mario first, like, wow. You see Link, it's like, oh my god, this is Twilight Princess. You see Kirby, like, wait, I have to play it again. I didn't notice anything.
So funny. Real quick, we got a new member on the channel, being Roger. Thanks, Roger, for joining. You got early access. So yeah, anytime we have a new special video, you'll have early access to it. Thanks so much for joining, and appreciate it. All right, anything else about Kirby Air Riders before we move on?
I just hope they have a larger roster than like 4 different colored Kirbys and like Meta Knight and Dedede, because playing those games with friends and unlocking those characters was such a blast. So I just hope the roster is expanded to actually fit more characters.
I think they will
have. They will have now 5 colored Kirbys.
5th color Kirby.
Oh man, that'd be amazing. Connor said they should bring back Kirby's Dream Friends. Oh, like the owl and Rick or Koo.
Is it Ricky, the little hamster?
Ricky. Yeah, all those little guys. Yeah, there are actually a lot of companion characters over the years, I think, that I believe, right, that they could bring in here. Or even, it'd be really fun, bringing like a little Kirby squad from Kirby Mass Attack or something, just have like 10 of them on the star.
Oh yeah.
Wait, I think one of Kirby's friends is like a fish. If Fishbones is coming to Mario Kart, I think you could put a fish on a Warp Star.
Mhm. Good point. Absolutely. I love this idea actually. And I think they could all, you know who else they should bring in? Another character that can inhale, going back to the Nintendo idea. Wario, baby! He inhales in Smash Brothers, another Sakurai game. Let's bring in Wario. I don't care if it doesn't make sense. He rides a motorcycle, why not a star? There's even that motorcycle star in the game already. So,
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
He's just gonna be eating everyone.
Oh
No.
man, you know what? One thing, actually, here's something I think they should do that they should lean into more, because one of the really cool aspects of City Trial is that you can swap vehicles. Like, it was almost a little GTA-like in that sense. I would love if they embrace that idea more. Maybe you don't start with a vehicle this time. Maybe you have to find one. Like, maybe they give everyone a minute or something to go find a vehicle, you know? And see, before you can even collect powers or something. But I think that'd be fun. And then if you get a crappy vehicle, you can try and upgrade later on. And it's sorry, go ahead, Nick.
No, I was gonna say that kind of goes into like the Fortnite mechanic that I was talking
Yeah.
about, right? Like they're just cloud that comes in, and when you start Fortnite, you're on the battle bus, right? So like you're jumping in, and you don't have anything. So what if you're just like in a giant warp star, and you're just jumping in, and then like you said, for a few minutes, you have to find your next vehicle.
Oh my god. That'd be hilarious. What if there were NPC vehicles that you can hijack? Just take them over?
I can't believe we're going to thank the bus driver in Kirby.
Darn right. I thank him every time of Fortnite, so... Oh, they could bring in... Yeah, could they bring in those as vehicles, too? Like all the Forgotten Land, like the car you could take control of, for instance?
I
Or
hope they bring the mech
that would
from
be so funny.
Robobot.
the mech, yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah, wow! I didn't even think of Robobot.
Yeah, I don't know. God, there's so... Yeah, 'cause there's a lot of things I think they could do with Kirby. They could be really creative, I think. I mean, you'll be actually really fun. Oh, I didn't even think about this. What if you could make your own Kirby? Like, what if you could, like, design your own, like, Kirby character or something?
Well, you can do that in what's it called? What's the food one that's kind of like Fall Guys? I haven't played it in a while. That's why I can't think of the name. Is it Dream
Kirby
Buffet?
Dream Buffet.
Dream Buffet, yeah.
Yeah, Dream Buffet. Yeah. So in Dream Buffet, like you get to customize your Kirby, right? Like you can put on a mask and change their colors and put stuff on like the Kirby's head.
Right. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I love that. I forgot about that. That's one way of going about it, yeah. But I like it they went even further. Made like a meat creator for Kirby. Like make little short, fat ones, make taller, lanky ones. You can put like a mustache on your Kirby. I need this, Don. I don't think you understand.
Yeah.
Anyways, there's a lot of potential here. That's more the point. We know nothing about it except it exists. I have not been that hyped though for a gamer announcement in a long time. So that was fun to see. And to have it so early too in the Switch 2 lifespan is amazing. I can't wait. And it's gonna look beautiful,
Coming
I
out
think.
this year.
Yeah, this year.
series is-
Like that
it's
honestly, that's
insane.
shocking. 2 racing games for Nintendo in the same year. I'm blown away, so to speak. I guess because however you can blow. I did not expect that. But real quick before we move on, is there any other new mechanics they could add to maybe the actual racing itself? You know, which will also factor into City Trial.
Like you said,
Make it
don't
actually more interactive.
Yeah, make it more interactive.
Yeah.
Don't make it a one button. Like when I was
Yeah.
playing the other day, I'm like, well, look at all these buttons on the GameCube controller. Why am I just using A? Like there's
Right,
so many
exactly.
buttons.
It's so weird.
Wait, do we think they're gonna add any gimmicks of the Switch 2 in this? Like is maybe a separate mode, like instead of the top-down mode, is there going to be a mode that uses the mouse functionality?
The mouse would be perfect. They showed out how you can like turn the mouse because of the gyro.
Yeah, they did.
That actually would make perfect sense for the top-down mode, right? Like you straight up turn it around to like rotate. Yeah, it's an interesting
Yeah.
idea. But yeah, I wonder. I mean, I could see gyro controls for like flight and stuff too, especially when you're flying through the air. And
Oh, yeah.
that could be another really fun thing to lean into. Like maybe make flying more of a central portion of the game.
Right.
Because it became more of a factor in the original game only when you like try to actively enhance your flight stat as well as the top speed. If you max those both out, you can just fly around forever. Basically,
Yeah.
it was great. All right,
Yeah.
a couple of things real quick. We got another new YouTube member. Thank you, Joey, for joining and getting the early access. Mango Tree with a super chat says limited edition Age of Imprisonment for Switch 2? ?
I don't think so because it's technically being
No.
developed by Koei Tecmo, a third party,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think they've ever done. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like a third party, like limited.
Also-
I guess Monster Hunter, I think, is the only exception, right?
Yeah.
Monster Hunter might be the only one, but again, Monster Hunter is on a scale that is like. I think there was a recent interview with like Shuhei, who worked at Sony Japan. He was like the president of Sony Japan, and I think he said one of the biggest like issues or errors or concerns at the time was when Monster Hunter made the jump from PlayStation to Nintendo. They like just woke up and like, what do you mean Monster Hunter is on Nintendo? We're not doing it anymore. So I think outside of the Switch One having the Monster Hunter Edition, I can't really see any other. Again, this is weird because it's like a third party developer making like a first party game, so
Right.
I can't see it for that. And especially if that's going to be the first limited edition Switch 2. I think it would be a different like game in the Nintendo's arsenal.
A couple more comments real quick about Kirby before we fully move on. William Williams says Dream Buffet should run better on Switch 2. It absolutely should. That game needs an online overhaul. Yeah, because it uses the old method of like, you know, no rollback, or basically you have to maintain the same frame rate with everyone. If someone has a bad connection for a moment, it ruins everyone's connection. It needs to be like what Mario Kart's doing, where it fixes it on the fly. Then we have Streamverse AI, who says Kirby Air Ride Salmon Run. Yes, actually, some co-op mode. Oh, that would be so fun. You know, like maybe giant boss battles in the open world type setting or something. Like I kind of want like a Mario Kart's doing. Like just give us a free roam mode. You know, maybe there could be random challenges that pop up. City Trial actually kind of already had this, where you have the temporary like random events that would happen, in, like including boss fights, I think, and you'd have to go race over there and you get a benefit for doing so. So
yeah, I just thought of one right now. Like if there's like a boss and the boss just keeps shooting out bombs and you have to protect the area. And as Kirby, you just take up the bombs, like you absorb the bombs and you just spit them out somewhere else.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that'd be great. We had another comment saying from Connor again. Do you think we could see the Kirby anime characters like Tiff, Tuff, and Iskargoon? Or whatever, since Sakurai also did work on Kirby anime, so maybe you could add them in Kirby Air Riders, I think. Oh, that's a good one. That could be a potential rights issue, because, you know, the company that made it may co-own it with Nintendo.
Wasn't it like 4Kids, I think?
Yeah, I think it may have been 4Kids. But I think it'd be awesome. It's not impossible. We saw Sakurai work magic on the in Ultimate, of course, so of course it's possible. And if there were a chance of it happening, this would be the game to do so in. So I love the idea. All right.
Wait, Andre, did you check the poll yet?
Oh, I ended it. It was at. Did you see it? The results there? Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. What we have is what you asked was, why do you play Kirby Air Ride?
Yeah.
At the highest percent, 61%, City Trial. After that is the racing, which is 32%, and then the top-down mode at 6%, which I'm shocked that people actually played.
I'm shocked that I got 6% even. Maybe they're troll votes, but you know, I respect it. You know, like I always love those retro-style games anyway. It's just that between that and Air and City Trial, I'm going to play City Trial. But also, another thing they need to do is for City Trial, make it longer. Like, I would always crank it up to the max, which I think was 7 minutes. I think default was like 3 or 4, which isn't enough. And I want that to be even longer. Like, it's so fun. Like, I love powering up in that game. That is such a good feeling. And Fortnite's the only other game that kind of like given me that feeling to a degree. Where it's just fun to go around and collect power-ups and then mess with your friends and try to steal their power-ups, you know? I want that back. It's just such a good feeling on a small scale, like a quick round type thing, you know? So...
Next time I play, I don't think I even realized that you can change the time. So I've always been playing the default settings.
Oh my goodness.
It is so short.
It
so
gets
like
so much
when
better.
when you see the stat menu, it's like, why do I only have like 2 on speed? Like sometimes I look at some of my friends, I'm like, we have nothing from like the 3 minutes.
Oh man. Yeah, we gotta try that. Nick, if we ever meet up in person, we're gonna do that. So all right. Let's go ahead and move on to another game, because there's so much to talk about. Let's talk about, I think now, not Switch 2. Actually, are there any other Switch 2 exclusives that we should talk about besides Mario Kart, which we'll get to?
Yeah, I definitely think so.
Yeah, go ahead.
We missed the big one, right? We missed the
Oh, Donkey Kong!
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's the phrase? The monkey in the room or something?
Yeah, you're right. The giant ape in the room. Donkey Kong Bonanza, an awesome name, by the way, which I thought was just Donkey Kong Banana for a while. Another surprise. I mean, to a degree, I think we're expecting Donkey Kong at some point, you know, but straight up, basically taking the place of a 3D Mario, especially since I don't know if it's been confirmed yet. It seems to almost definitely be from the Tokyo team, which almost always makes amazing games, and it's fun to see them back in Donkey Kong games. That's how they got their start, with Donkey Kong Jungle Beat being their first official game from that crew, which then kind of inspired to a degree Mario Galaxy as well. So it's fun to see them taking a new take in Donkey Kong with this new art style, kind of a little bit goofier, in this crazy, almost blast core type way, where you're like just picking up stuff and chucking it around, and like totally different to what a 3D Mario would be. So yeah, like, what do we think of this?
I'm so excited to play this. Odyssey is my favorite Mario game of all time. It's on my top 10 list. Like I go back and play Odyssey at least once a year.
Wow.
So to see a sequel like this follow up to it, I'm super excited. My major concern is that it's not going to be as creative as Odyssey with all these different power-ups. Especially when, Andre, you and I were watching the treehouse. You're like, oh, I just want to get out of the caverns.
Right.
It's like Donkey Kong's in there for like, what, like 15, 20 minutes just beating through the dirt. Like, I hope there's a little bit more to that mechanic, right? Like, I hope that's not just like the thing, the here it is, this is like the main thing while you're playing it.
Sure.
What do you think, Dylan?
I mean, the thing is with the game, everything is destructible, which I think is super fun.
Yeah.
I think just blowing up everything in the environments is like a fun hook. It needs to lead somewhere though, and we've seen sort of hints of that in the trailer with there actually being a story and there actually being an end goal in mind. And I want to see how that plays out in the bigger picture, really.
Yeah, I'll be 100%. Oh, go ahead, Nick, please, actually.
No, I was going to say when Don mentioned like you're just destroying stuff in the treehouse today, we actually saw that each level has like a terrain difficulty. Like I think it's like 1 through 5 stars, so it might be like, oh, the 1 star you can just destroy everything. The 5-star might be like, oh, you can only destroy like this one thing in the level. So I'm not sure about that, but would you say? Sorry, Don.
No, I said absolutely. So
Yeah. Yeah, I will say, so a couple of minor things. One, I thought the trailer was amazing. I loved everything about that trailer. I'm like, yes, this looks amazing. I'm sure the game's going to be amazing. I will say the treehouse demonstrations weren't the best, I thought. I thought they kind of focused too much on the early game stuff, which clearly the more interesting stuff comes later. And maybe we'll see more of that tomorrow even, during the other Treehouse Live happening. But I think they should have sped through that or just skipped it entirely. Just because you're underground a lot, I think you get a great sense of the, kind of gameplay loop. And also, I'm not the biggest fan of that first-person mode where you can see, like, you can read, like, you're almost Batman vision. You can, like, read the terrain type as to where to throw things. Like, that kind of slows down the pace of the game. I wish it would just be, like, a simpler, tap a button, like, an overlay appears and just tells, like, you can see it visually rather than, like, scanning things. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I didn't even realize that too. I was more so just picturing it for the enemies. But again, like you want to throw it like at the wall. And what I was thinking too, which they didn't show off at the treehouse, is that it might have mouse control support.
Oh, because they did that would make sense. Yeah.
They did show that so often. It's like, oh, you're picking up this thing, and then you go into, like you said, that Batman mode, and you're just throwing it at an enemy to destroy it or throwing it at the wall.
That's a great one. I'm sure. I'm actually sure it will now, especially because it's not how seamless you can swap between mouse mode and anything else with the Metroid Prime 4 demo. So, yeah. I also, what do we think of the new Donkey Kong? Like these new expressions. Like I am loving it. Like I do get some of the concerns from other people, but for the style of game they're making, absolutely perfect. I love this new take, and it kind of fits in. I think with the the more emotive DK that came up, they created for the Mario movie as well. I think DK is overdue. Due for a change, I suppose. Not that I want the retro style DK to be gone forever. Like if there's another platformer in that style, I would love for that more serious DK to come back. I think they can coexist, but for right now, this looks great. This looks so fun. I love how expressive he is. He might be one of the most expressive Nintendo characters ever now.
I think he might be. And if you look at Mario Odyssey, I'm just thinking of that first level that you dive into. What is it? Not the Cascade Kingdom. We were talking to the Fossil Kingdom or whatever. When Mario hits the ground and he picks his head up and his nose is just like, I think it's like jiggling and he's like trying to ruffle his hat on or something.
He's had nose implants.
Like you get so much expression from DK just like you did in Mario Odyssey.
You guys tongue hanging out like
yeah, he's like on top of that too, like we saw DK with the suspenders, but they get ripped off right away after like the first level in the treehouse. I'm hoping that there is a mechanic, or not a mechanic. I hope there is a style where you can actually buy new clothing for him, like you did for Mario Odyssey. Because there's so many collectibles, and we didn't see what any of them did. I think he was just eating the bananas. He's like, and that was about it.
Yeah. I seriously love how DK looks. He looks really entertaining, very fun.
Yeah.
I also do think, for me, in my personal opinion, it's hard to go back to the previous DK design because he wasn't very expressive. He wasn't a very emote character. He had more faces, which were fun to look at, but there was not much to see behind those faces. They were there, and that's it. This seems like he's showing more fun and different kinds of emotions, which I think also helps with the style of game they're making.
Yeah, he's more like a cartoon character because I think at some point, like something hits him on the head and his eyes literally bulge out of his face. It's just like, what?
And there is some precedent for that because Donkey Kong Country 2, I believe, had that kind of same style where their eyes would pop out of their face, So it's not like it's completely out of nowhere entirely. And I think they can still use this new design and just make DK more serious looking if they want to in the future. I mean,
absolutely.
To be honest, it didn't even really change all that much. Like, it still pretty faithful to the original design. They just like kind of raised his brow and lets them do more expressions. Even the creator of the modern Donkey Kong, Kev Bayless, I believe, has commented. He's like, "This is better than my design." You know, like they did a good job. You know, like he's more expressive now, and that's something we were locked into before. We could only make him look, you know, annoyed or slightly less annoyed, basically.
Or very happy. But yeah.
Wait, Mario Party Jamboree is the only. Oh, I guess in HD Returns are the only newer I say games with DK that feature his older design, right?
Yes, correct.
Yep, that's right.
Because I guess it's just Switch 2 stuff going forward that he's using this design, and obviously the Mario movie, which kind of first brought it to the forefront.
Even to the degree that there were apes in that movie wearing jeans, you know, like so it kind of set up the future a little bit. Although it is funny, real quick. Actually, I'll get to that later if I remember. Actually, I'll say it now, but I'll probably forget. Is just how much the Mario Kart world like kind of instantly outdated the movie and the theme park. You know, anti-gravity gone, gliders gone. You know, it's it's kind of weird.
Even the design too. Like you look at DK in the park, it's not the newer DK, right?
Good point.
Just, yeah.
Right. If I were Universal, I'd be a little pissed right now. Really, we committed hundreds of millions to building 3 of these things, and you instantly make a new DK.
Like you mentioned too, the Mario Kart anti-gravity, all the ride vehicles for the Mario Kart ride do have the anti-gravity, and we didn't see any of that in the new trailer or anything Mario Kart World, right? Like there's no anti-gravity.
Doesn't seem so.
No, but we'll talk more about that soon. Yeah, no anti-gravity. But to that point, other elements that Return to may not have in Donkey Kong, minecarts are back, which is awesome. We saw a 2D segment, which seems very respectful of either, you know, the typical 2D games or even again Tokyo Team's own heritage as Jungle Beat, which is great.
Yeah.
And then Cranky Kong's back too. Weirdly not in the trailer. I wonder if Nintendo was so afraid of doing a big thing Cranky again after the Game Awards like 15 years or 10 years ago. Where they
my God, I totally forgot about that. That was, I think, like one of the first Game Awards. And what's his name?
The Spike Awards.
The Soup or Jeff Keighley were like harassing Reggie. They were like, why is it just Cranky Kong? Where are the other games?
It was not even the Game Awards. They were called VGX. That was the
only
thing. Yeah,
that was it. But also, someone in the chat pointed out, you know, no Kremlings, obviously. No King K. Rool, no Kremlings still. And I will say that is just slightly disappointing. Like, on the one hand, I want Tokyo to do whatever they want because they're amazing at it. On the other hand, it's like, man, it's still not their time. Even after Smash, like, come on!
It's so shocking after Smash. And seeing the new villains, they look awesome, but like not having K-Rool since like Smash, and then prior to Smash, I think his last appearance was like Mario Baseball on the Wii. Yeah. It's just shocking because like, where is he? Like they just completely forgot about him.
Well, speaking of which, is a bigger, more notable omission here at this point, at least, being Diddy. Where the heck is Diddy? Yeah,
he's not even in Mario Kart. They left him out of Mario Kart, and he's not even Donkey Kong.
This is Diddy erasure. Like, what's going on? That's that might be your next short, Nick. What happened to Diddy?
Where the hell's Diddy?
Diddy is gone.
Diddy's been killed. It's like Sonic's dead. That Sonic is dead game. Diddy's dead.
Oh no, it's the Mario meme again of Mario dead.
Yeah, Mario being dead. Yeah, we should make an intro where we kill Diddy off. Yeah. Oh, hold on though. No. I'm seeing the chat like Nestor, or let's see. Nestor says Diddy did it. Diddy's a bad guy in this game. I love that. But also, someone else here says, Akimizu says Diddy Kong E-Racing. I don't know what the E stands for. I'll take it. I'll take any version of Diddy Kong Racing again.
Electronic racing.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah.
Electricity racing. E-racing. Yeah.
All right. Should we move on to anything else about Donkey Kong before we move on?
It's interesting to see that there's like some kind of music mechanic to it. Right, because like once they got the companion in the treehouse, like Donkey Kong started whistling and the little companion started whistling. My hope is that they bring back like the original composers from Donkey Kong Country, right? Like Grant Kirkhope and David Wise. Like if music's going to be like a large mechanic or a large gimmick to this game, I hope they bring back the originals.
You know, I'll have to re-listen to the gameplay. Honestly, if it's either of those two, we'd probably be able to tell already. They have pretty distinct styles. Yeah.
I listened to the music and I can't. Nothing off the top of my ear for the first listening, I can tell.
I mean, it could be, you know, it's possible that, you know, maybe they just composed a few songs, if any, like kind of like for Ukulele.
Mario Rabbids.
Or Mario Rabbids as well, I think, at least for David Wise or Grant Kirkhope.
Grant Kirkhope,
yeah, I would love to see it. I'm not expecting it, but that will be amazing because David Wise in particular is like, you know, he's so well known for these games, and Donkey Kong's so well known for him too. But it's possible that his amazing music just doesn't strike the right chord for what they're aiming for here, which is kind of goofier. Which in the other games it's a little bit more serious, you know. So Grant Kirkhope would actually be a good fit, I think, with that style.
Yeah, especially with the stuff he did on Mario & Rabbids, and he did, I think, compose the song for Banjo-Kazooie when Banjo was put into Smash. So he's worked with Nintendo recently.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. I will love it. But yeah, just to circle back to the core gameplay, I think it looks fun. Like just being able to like, you know, there was that game a few years ago called like Ape Out, and that one you're like just like killing humans, which is hilarious.
Oh yeah.
But like this kind of feels like the Nintendo version of that, right? Just going around using a giant ape power to just destroy things, and that's kind of amazing. Like I love that they're leaning into that. Perhaps more, definitely more than any other Donkey Kong game has. I've never really thought about that. It's like a DK should be like this big brute, right? And he can just demolish the actual world now. I mean, they did have elements before, like the ending of Donkey Kong Country Returns, where he punches a moon into the planet, and they're kind of taking that idea, and making the actual gameplay loop, which is amazing.
And that's the thing, like you mentioned, like DK's power. Like it's finally good to see him be this powerful.
Right.
And we did see it in what was it, Jungle Beat, right? Like he's punching things around like crazy in that because you're using the bongos and he's all over the place. But he was pretty powerful in the Mario movie, right? Like I think he was taking charge. I mean, he beats up Mario in the arena. Like,
you're right. Man, that's a great point, actually. So yeah, the Mario movie really set a lot of things in motion here, it feels like. I mean, obviously they must have known to some degree where they wanted DK to go as a character, but it really helped act as a bridge to that. And I think it'll still work, you know, with the upcoming sequel. Like he won't feel completely out of place, I think, you know, with this new game version. So
right.
All right, let's go move on to any other Switch 2 exclusives. I think we mostly covered it besides Welcome Tour, which I don't care about. So
we covered Zelda, Imprisonment More. We covered Kirby, Donkey Kong. Oh, we're missing one.
What?
I always forget the name because they're like always.
Oh, and of course Mario Kart, which we'll get to at the end.
Yeah, Drag X Drive.
Oh, yeah, God, I keep forgetting about that game.
That's the thing, like we're forgetting about it.
I want to like that game so much, but it looks so boring.
There's just no personality in it. It's so unfortunate. It's not like when at the Switch 1 reveal, when they showed off ARMS, like, oh, this game looks cool. This looks awesome. This has got character. But you look at this and like
style, yeah,
there's no style in this. There's no personality. This looks like a tech demo that would have been in the Welcome Tour like pack. Like you just jump in this and it's just like, oh, this is how you use the controllers.
I will say this as like a virtual sports guy. So I do think it's cool to have something that's represented that feels a bit more Paralympic.
Yeah, to be clear, we're talking about the robotic wheelchair basketball game. Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I think that's super cool. I think there's very little that leans into that.
Right.
I will say though, what is detrimental to that game, and you guys kind of mentioned it, I think that the style is a bit too dark.
Yeah, it almost feels like the base idea I think is really clever. Like you got these two mouse features.
I think the idea,
great idea. I love that, and it seems respectful too. Like it's a whole game based around a community that's often neglected, except for the fact you're not playing as a community. You're playing as robots.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if there's a thematic reason for it. I don't even care if there is or not. It's just a weird design choice, and it almost feels like Nintendo was maybe afraid of like offending the community, so they went with a safe bet of robots. But this ends up feeling like super bland and boring and no personality. Like it honestly reminds me more than anything of, I said it before during the stream, of freaking Metroid Blast Ball, another game where you play as
oh my god.
Yeah, you basically robots.
I think the core idea is so cool, but there is a vibe to it that feels off.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. Maybe if they show off a second trailer, maybe that's when it's going to blow us away and they all this character and personality. But with the first one, first impression, I'm like, this doesn't look it. Like again, it just doesn't have that ARMS new IP touch to it. It's just like, okay, you're in this dark and dingy place and you're playing basketball.
Yeah, underground.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, that's it, right? Like, yeah.
Like even beyond that though, like even ignoring all that, like the gameplay itself doesn't look that fun either. Like there's potential there, but it needs work. Like I hope, did they give a release date to this? Is it launch?
They said
it's summer. It's summer.
No, it's too soon. This game's a mess. Yeah. It needs work.
I think the actual mechanics of how you drive and how you shoot makes total sense.
Yeah, I think
they make perfect sense. It may be a bit tiring, sure, but I think the entire gameplay concept is very interesting. Once again, the one thing I cannot go over is the way it looks. Yeah. And it's nothing mean against the people who made it. Absolutely not. You choose what you want to make. it's just not vibes with me in a certain fashion.
They should. I don't know if they will. It's Nintendo, and to be fair, maybe when it comes out, it will be like, oh my god, this game's brilliant. I see the light. I doubt it's going to happen. I hope you can see the light literally in the game with how dark it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in any case, I hope they delay this game and like give it a reassessment. There is potential there, and brightening it up, adding more personality. Like one thing that's already bugging me too is beyond everything we mentioned is whenever you run into someone, you go into like this weird stuttery animation. I'm like, that looks so bad and terrible. And they should make it more energetic, where like you bounce off, but maybe you can use that to your advantage. Something I think would be good too potentially. Another concern I have is, are you gonna get tired of doing this? Like, is this gonna get really exhausting? And I think maybe adding.
It's hard to say. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say right now, but maybe adding like some kind of boost feature where like for basic movement you do that, of course, but you build up a charge over time where you can like unleash a boost that zooms you across the map, and you can tie that into like your shots and something. I don't know. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. I'm not a game designer, but I feel like there's a way they can liven this up.
Yeah, there has to be something that we're not seeing for this, right? Because even in the trailer, I think there was other characters in the background like grinding or doing like tricks.
What were they doing?
Like they were like grinding on rails.
The rails, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
This is a mature game all of a sudden.
But there was characters doing other things besides playing basketball. So I really hope that we see something that kind of lightens it up or makes it more exciting or appealing. But for right now, it's not it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to like it though, so I hope either there's more we don't know about yet that'll fill in those gaps. Nintendo usually has that second trailer that blows us away, but again, we've seen gameplay of it, or maybe they'll rethink things a little bit. Who knows? But I hope the best for it because I like the idea, so I want it to work.
No,
all right,
sure.
Let's move on now to I guess we should touch on at least some of the I keep forgetting the name.
Switch 2
The Switch 2
Thank you,
edition
Switch
game.
2 editions. Yeah, I keep on saying like extended or extra or any other word but the one they end up with.
Yeah, it's just buzzwords, is it?
Yeah, it really is. I want to talk about Metroid Prime 4 first, though. But I feel like this game, I feel like calling it in a, what is it again? The
Switch 2 edition.
I hate that name. The Switch 2 edition. I think it almost undersells it. This honestly, I was looking at the gameplay today, but I mentioned yesterday during the direct that, a couple days before the direct.
Last week's direct.
Our discussion. Yeah, last week's direct. Thank you. That it looked almost a little like it didn't look as impressive as I hoped. But seeing it today on Switch 2, I'm like, dear God, that looks great. And in the 4K visual, 60 frames per second. Not even to mention the insane 120 frame rate option they have. It looks so good. Like I was looking out the windows, you can see raindrops on the windows. I'm like, I don't recall that in a Nintendo game before. It looks amazing, and that just blew me away. And I think Nintendo's almost doing a disservice on how they presented this game so far with like a couple of underwhelming trailers and now just like an extended gameplay thing, which I think kind of blew it away. It should have been in yesterday's direct, but it looks so freaking good.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
This trailer was the best one, hands down, out of it. Like you said, the little details from the rain. The opening cutscene was mind-blowing. It's like, oh my god, there is so much going on right now. Like, this does not seem like a Metroid game, but there's Samus right now, and like they're talking to Samus and she's not talking back.
Right.
But yeah, this trailer was it.
It felt like they finally realized what they're trying to do with Metroid Prime 3 in that opening, which to me at the time just felt like a bad recreation of Halo. This one felt like they figured it out though. Like this felt like, oh man, that looks amazing. That looks epic. I'm getting it. I'm seeing the vision for this now, or at least the beginning of the game.
Yeah, before this trailer, I wasn't as excited. After this trailer, I'm like, yeah, I'm probably going to get this day one, especially with how seamless the mouse control is. Or when they were demonstrating it, they're like, oh, you're playing with Joy-Cons. All you have to do is wait. And I'm like, you don't go into an option menu or anything to change it. You just put it on its side and it's right into mouse controls. That's amazing.
Yeah. I said this before. I am not great with first-person games. The mouse controls make me kind of want to try it.
Okay. Yeah, maybe it would help.
Because my mind cannot really adapt to first-person games for some reason super well. And I have the feeling that mouse controls might be the thing that fixes it.
Yeah, I can see that. It's very possible. So I hope it does for you.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be really nice. Like, my dad can't play first person games either. He gets motion sickness from it. And anytime he sees me playing one, he's like, he wishes, or whether on stream or whatever, he wishes that like that there were third person options that we could play, and that would be nice for Metroid too. Like, make it the first person the emphasis, but if you want to have third person as well, like why not give people that option,
And it's not too crazy to think about because when you go into your morph ball, you're in third person. You're never doing that in first person.
Thank God. Can you imagine? That would be hilarious.
I know.
Actually, I want that as an option.
no.
The camera that's rolling around. That'd be so good.
No, don't give me that idea in my head.
That should be an
Yeah, I would
unlockable
so
bonus
sick.
at the end of the game. First person morph ball. Oh man, that might be our next
That
April Fool's
sounds
joke.
terrible.
Yeah.
No.
Wait, they
No.
reverse the camera. So yeah, whenever you're morph ball, you're in first person, but everything else is third person. I'd be like, no, that's not the way I want it.
Oh man. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how much there is to say about it, but I was just really impressed by the showing during today's live stream, and it makes me more excited for it. And like, man, Nintendo, you're dropping the ball on this. Like, for one, I'm actually surprised it's not a launch title. I think it absolutely could be one. I think it should be one. Maybe it's just not ready yet, and that's fine. But I'm like, I think they're missing the boat a little bit, because I think the launch would be the best chance at Metroid finally breaking the $3 million barrier, by more than a few $100,000. Yeah.
You tried to make it sound positive, and then it wasn't.
Yeah. But even then too, like, I think for just broadening your demographic, even if it's not a launch title, like putting a bigger emphasis on yesterday's Direct, where you had everyone watching, show this game off more rather than a throwaway, quick thing, But it does look more mature, for, mature, even putting in quotes. But it looks like it would target people like Call of Duty or, those types of games more often. People play on PlayStation and Xbox more often than not.
Right.
Yeah, especially
the
when
trailer that they showed yesterday was just like, okay, like people that are already going to get it are going to get it. Like we see these cool features, like, oh, this is awesome.
Exactly.
Like, I'm excited to use those. And then today at the Treehouse, it's like, whoa, no, this is what they should be showing.
All those trailers showed us before, the two previous ones. It's like, yeah, it's another Metroid Prime game, which to a degree it is, but like it looks way more action packed now, especially with the mouse controls. Like, dear God, like this is perfect. You should be showing this off better, Nintendo. Like, what's your problem? Anyways, I'm excited for it. Like that finally sold me on it. Like, I was gonna get it anyway. I'm a big Metroid Prime fan, but before I'm like, it's Metroid Prime. I know what it is, But like now I'm like, ooh, this is looking good now. So all right, and we don't know when the release date actually is. We only know this year, right? So do you think it'll be a summer title, end of the year, maybe?
So
I
one thing that I did,
I think it's
notice,
like October or something.
October?
You think October?
Yeah.
They do have, I don't know how much credence there is behind this, but like there was like the Switch 2 edition games or enhanced games,
right? And
they were in somewhat of an order, because it first starts with Mario Party Jamboree, which releases in July. Right after that is Zelda, which the Tears of the Kingdom Breath of the Wild, which those are day one though. And then after that is Kirby, which is August. And then after Kirby, I believe it's Metroid, then Pokemon. So, and Kirby has a release date. Kirby's coming out, not Kirby Air Riders, Kirby in the Forgotten Land Switch 2 edition. That comes out in August. So I think September, October, or November for Metroid or Pokemon is where these games are going to fall.
That's not its name. It's Kirby and the Forgotten Land Nintendo Switch Edition plus Star-Crossed World, which is a mouthful and a half.
Wait, so that comes after the Switch 2 edition title?
Yes.
Oh no! Wait, that's the same case for Mario Party Jamboree. I think it's Mario Party Jamboree, Switch 2 edition plus Jamboree TV.
Correct.
Oh my God, these names are hurting my head.
Yeah.
William real quick says, can I get a Prime 1 upgrade with mouse controls, Nintendo? That would be great. That'd be such a nice feature to add,
I mean, that can just be a free upgrade, because they're doing free upgrades for other Switch games.
And I want to, again, I think part of the reason, like, I'm feeling really good about this Direct in hindsight, putting aside the price nonsense, of course, is that, like, most everything we found out, even beyond that they teased in there and they talked more about, it's all great stuff, like free upgrades to some games, extended or, expanded versions of other games, and, like, they've found a way of, like, having this really good release cadence, I think, at least through to the end of the year, even assuming only what we know is it so far.
Yeah.
But he just touched on the schedule. Like, that's so great. Like, and while still giving Switch 1 owners something to play. Like, they've done such a great job at that. I think that's brilliant.
The crazy thing to think about is that Metroid Prime is still coming to Switch 1, right? Like, even though we saw it on Switch 2 yesterday, it's still a Switch 1
and
game.
It looks pretty good on that system, too,
I'm going to say something that's going to upset some people.
Well, that's everything for us, but...
Why in the free upgrade section, you do Game Builder Garage, where is Mario Maker 2?
Oh.
Someone brought that up to me on Twitter. I forget their name, but 100%. Why is that not there? Only reason I could think is they don't want to undercut a Mario Maker 3, perhaps. But I don't think it would. That's kind of stupid. And Mario Maker 2...
It adds nothing to add mouse support to that thing. Absolutely nothing.
It'd be so nice. It would actually make that game be worth playing.
Yeah.
Or editing, Yeah.
And to go back to that list...
I get...
Don, go ahead.
So I get that Game Builder Garage already had USB mouse support and it was easy to implement. Like, I get that, right? but it's not hard to implement like a cursor in Mario Maker 2.
No, it shouldn't be. Yeah. I fully agree. So I hope they announce that at some point. Maybe they're holding back some for announcements. Like maybe they only had time to get certain things ready, and maybe it'll come down the line. Though you think that would be at the top of the list,
Yeah.
because that was a major problem with that game was how the inputs worked. So, but yeah, here's hoping, or at the least a new Mario Maker. But yeah, I do love that. Again, the Switch 2 is breathing new life into previous games. Sometimes in some weird ways, but I'll be fully honest. I'm not completely sold on some of these. God darn, I keep forgetting the name.
Nintendo Switch 2 edition of games.
Switch. God, it's such a bad name. It does not roll off the tongue. I cannot remember it. Anyways.
Hey man, I'm just gonna point out once again that the Kirby version on Switch 2 is called Kirby in the Forgotten Land, Nintendo Switch 2 edition plus star crossed world.
I love that actually saying the colon is part of the name. That makes it even worse somehow. But yeah, so let's talk about some of these enhancements that are coming that will be sold also separately, I believe, right? As part of this. Is that how that works? So you can buy them on their own too, right?
Yes,
you can. What they did was they showcased the games in 3 ways, right? Like you can play your Switch 1 games on your Switch 2. You can play your Switch 2 games on your Switch 2, right? It's I'm getting confused now. And then you have your Switch 2 edition games, and then I think they didn't touch up on the other ones, but you have their games that are just going to be naturally enhanced by Switch 2, which was that short list of games that had Game Builder Garage on it.
Is it weird that I'm way more excited for that list of games than I am the games they focused on yesterday? I'll be honest, looking at Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom stuff, graphically great. I love that. Obviously, that's great. But like the voiceover stuff, and then the GPS with it talking to you constantly, I don't care. I think that actively takes away from the game if you use them.
I mean, I will say that it's nice to finally share your creations in Tears of the Kingdom.
That should not.
That
should be there anyway.
It took that long.
Yeah, I mean, it's good.
It's good that they're finally doing it anyway. Yeah. Like it's better late than never.
Yeah, but I do think that feature in particular should be a free update for Switch 1 owners as well. Like, I think that's really dumb that they're stuck now if they don't upgrade. Although, those are at least part of the Switch expansion pack, right?
That is correct.
Yes.
Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
So, like, I can't be upset. They're optional features, but I do think, like, those features is, like, annoying to me. The lore drops, the vocal stuff added nothing from what I heard. Like, I'm like, they're telling me pointless stuff that I can already infer. And then, the GPS almost, takes me out of it. Like, I don't want to listen to my car's GPS as I'm playing Zelda.
It was pretty laughable. When we were watching it on the live stream, it was like, oh, it's just Google Maps.
It's constant, too. She will not shut up.
That being said, HDR support for those two Zelda games is very nice.
Yeah, and it running in 60 frames. I'm like, I'm probably going to replay one.
No, those are good. I agree. Those are absolutely good. So if I ever replay Breath of the Wild, it would absolutely be on Switch 2 for that reason.
But yeah.
Also, someone in the chat mentioned it, and I felt that... Oh, no, go ahead, Nick. I'm sorry. You had something?
Yeah, before you go in the chat. Yeah, I was going to say, the list of games, the short list of, like, the free edition games or upgraded games, are we thinking that they're going to come pretty quickly with Switch 2, or is it going to be a painful drag where it's like, oh, here are the NSO games like they show for like 64, but they don't release them for a year or two later? Like, it's just going to be like, oh, here's a weekly game, or maybe once a month, here's a Switch 2 edition game.
I think they're going to only, because we're Switch 2 edition games, because they're not free updates.
I guess go back to the edition games. Just the free ones.
Yeah, I think with Switch 2 edition games specifically, they only do it when they feel it necessary. With free updates, they can drop them whenever we like, and we do know about like a day beforehand.
Oh my god, guys. I'm sorry.
What?
Mario brought up a great point in the chat. Regarding Zelda GPS, missed opportunity for a Navi voice.
Oh,
you're so right!
Wait, why is it a Navi?
Her name is literally short for navigation! What the hell? I'm mad now. I'm upset by this. Oh, they screwed up. Or at least put the little chimes from the Breath of the Wild or Majora's Mask ones. I don't care if I can't understand it. That'd be cute though, from those fairies.
I will
or fee option. That's a good one too. They screwed up. Sorry, Don. Go ahead.
Yeah, I will say moving on from Zelda, because we're mostly focusing on Zelda. Yeah. There are three other games that are getting additions next to that, and Metroid, which is of course Jamboree. Jamboree is the weirdest, I feel.
I agree. Yeah.
I mean, will I try that stuff? Yeah, because I already put too much time in Jamboree anyway. Why not? but it's also it feels inherently weird because it feels such a random choice for a recent release. You know what? For the first time ever, we're adding downloadable content to Mario Party.
It's something you never wanted, someone no one asked for.
Yeah.
And the
I mean,
striking thing is, it's not even like maps or anything. It's all the little gimmick stuff to it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Don.
what I think cool about it is the one thing that are adding specifically for this edition of the game, you can do game share through local multiplayer.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So if you are playing locally with friends and you have it on a Switch 2, you can beam it to other Switch 1s and Switch 2s and play local multiplayer, each on their own screen.
Wait, Switch 1 included.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, in the game share games, Andre, like in the trailer yesterday, yeah, they did show it you sharing on your Switch 2, sharing Switch 1 games to Switch 1 owners.
I guess yeah, okay. That's actually pretty cool for Mario Party. I forgot that was.
That's honestly the thing I'm most excited about regarding the upgrade for Jamboree. Like the minigame stuff, will I play it? Absolutely. Will I stick with it long term? I don't think so. Like, the majority of think so is like the game share stuff, which I think is really cool, and the fact that that has more updated features to it. But outside of that, it's not going to be like a major thing I will be fully invested in.
Right. Yeah, I guess it's a little annoying because we finally get DLC and it's for stuff I don't want to do. Like the side modes are fine. The game already had a couple of them. I never play them as is. And I was looking at these. I'm like, these seem weird. Like ultimately, I just want more maps, more mini games, and the feature turn off freaking Jamboree buddies. We got none of that, you know. And to be fair, I understand it would be weird if those were locked to Switch 2, which they shouldn't be, but that'd be stupid. But it's like, well, I don't know why they bother making these things at all. I would rather they put their focus on an actual proper expansion pack to the game, rather than these side modes that could just be their own isolated game experiences.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
I do think this upgrade doesn't make me want to have the camera so we can see each other's face while we're all sitting 4 people on the couch. I think that's really cute.
Yeah.
But once again, if those are the 2 main reasons why I buy an upgrade, I don't necessarily think that's the greatest investment of money.
No. Real quick, hey, Mr. Dan, another YouTuber in the chat. Yeah, I don't think we didn't touch about the. Oh no, we did touch about the voice, the video stuff earlier. I think, right?
Yeah, we did.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Then we'll go back to it then.
I'm not sure why my camera is moving.
Speaking of cameras, I heard it got offended by our
Switch 2 camera.
All right.
The camera's getting jealous. 1 second.
Beyond Mario Party and Metroid, there's also Kirby, which also oddly has an expansion that doesn't seem like it would necessarily need Switch 2, but I guess it'll visually be better maybe. But yeah, they're straight up adding story-based content, right? Like a new world.
That's actually really cool. I think that because one of the first shots we saw of the story content is that with regards to Kirby, you're going up the tower that you see at the beginning of the game instead of going straight forward and going to the car mode.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder where we're going through new places or new locations that we saw in the background but never went before. That's kind of nice.
It's interesting, yeah. It's just weird that it doesn't seem to embrace really anything unique to the Switch 2 beyond maybe its hardware. I forget. Did the stage look way better than it had in the rest of the stages, or
it looked a lot crisper because obviously the original did have some frame rate issues in the latter half of the game when there was a lot going on in levels. It looked very smooth in that trailer.
Oh, I guess but the whole game now runs at 60 though, right? Is that
it does? Yeah,
that's actually that's a good improvement, obviously. That's great because that always did bug me a little bit. Like this game should probably run at 60 on Switch 1, but they couldn't figure it out for whatever reason. So.
And then, the last one is Pokemon Legends ZA, which is the big shocker to me. I honestly didn't expect. For me, this always felt like a Switch 1 game. I'm actually.
That's how they work. Yeah, they always support the previous generation.
But I'm actually impressed that they're doing it, and it actually runs smooth now. I mean, it's not the most fullest world still possible because it's still the same game, obviously. But I do think. I cannot go back to Switch 1 now once I buy a Switch 2 edition of that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, too. Like, we say it's shocking that ZA is getting this improvement. And also Scarlet and Violet are getting the free update.
Right?
Yes, it does.
Which is shocking.
Yeah. And so, I mean, on the one hand, I do say, like, it's kind of weird that only Switch 2 owners are getting some of this exclusive content, for when it doesn't necessarily make perfect sense, like story-based stuff. On the other hand, it is actually kind of cool because this is like it is new gameplay for Switch 2 owners that build off existing games, and it's kind of a smart way for Nintendo to give you more things to play on a platform that could have otherwise been maybe starved for releases if were not for them augmenting previous games. Again, I think they're handling it really well overall, even if I have some issues with a few things here, but
Yeah, it's also interesting how they're rolling it out once a month after launch, because obviously the two Zeldas are coming at launch, then Jamboree in July, and Forgotten World in August. So at least it keeps the momentum going of having something to play, even if you haven't played those games before.
Yeah, absolutely, exactly. Again, Nintendo usually sucks at console transitions. They're usually really bad at it. And they're actually doing a really good job this time. It actually reminds me most likely, which what I was hoping for is a continuation of like the Game Boy to the Game Boy Color era. This one's a little bit different, but still I think it's got similar energy to that. And I love that Switch 1 owners aren't being completely left behind yet, including the fact we have 2 brand new games coming to them next year, So yeah. It's good.
And obviously, it's still getting a Metroid Prime 4 and Legend ZA. They're not getting skimped on that.
Yeah, no.
Like, because they absolutely could have done. They absolutely could have said from no, we're dedicating now the resources to 2. And to their credit, they're still there on Switch 1.
Yeah. And also, I don't think they're necessarily doing out of the goodness of their heart for Switch 1 owners. I think Nintendo also realizes it's to their benefit too.
Yeah.
Especially with these prices they're charging. If Nintendo probably realizes every successor system they've ever sold has underperformed compared to its predecessor. And these prices probably isn't going to help reverting that. So it makes sense to continue giving Switch 1 owners, things to play too. And also for them, it's good as well. Like, because they're building a library that'll be enhanced on Switch 2. It's a future enhancements for them and future motivation for them to upgrade down the line as well. So yeah, they're playing it smart, I think, business wise and consumer wise.
Yeah. I want to respond to a comment from John Burrows.
Yeah.
Are we sure free updates are performance updates, or are they just compatibility updates so that games can run on Switch 2? No, most games can run on Switch 2. Like most.
Yeah, the
Switch
list was
1 games
very
can run
small that couldn't run on Switch 2. Those ones, they specifically said that they're going to be free upgrades to just enhance the experience of them on Switch 2.
So either use mouse or game share or a slight performance update where it's not just emulated, it actually adds stuff to the performance of a game.
Yeah. And that's awesome. I love that they're doing that. Like, it feels like a better version of what Xbox is doing with their backwards compatibility system, where they are like, well, I guess that had some enhancements too, to be fair, but that was more of a side effect of how they were doing it. Whereas here, they're really, it seems like they're really thinking about it a little bit more. And to the point, they could have called all of those. I forgot the name again. The
Nintendo Switch 2 edition
games.
God, I hate that name. They could call all of those that, and they didn't. And I appreciate that.
It's so hard to remember.
My mind is a weird place, Don. Okay, chat. Am I alone on this? Does anyone else have trouble with this? I don't know. It might be that I have so many things going through my head.
Andre, the more you say it, the more I'm like, I have to rethink about it. And I'm like, wait a minute, am I saying it right?
No, I'm making it contagious. I'm making it worse. We're all gonna have like brain drain at the end of the day. So Connor says nope, not them. So okay, so it might just be me at this point, but yeah. Real quick before we move on to our final game being Mario Kart, which I really wanted to get to, so we can wrap things up. And also, we have a lot to say about Mario Kart. Just theoretically, what other games would you want to see benefits added to retroactively, for Switch 1? That whether mouse support improved, graphically, or whatever else, like whatever else, or content added, even, I guess.
Mario Maker 2.
Yeah, we touched on that.
Maker 2,
Mario Maker 2, absolutely.
Is the big one. I've been recently playing Xenoblade Chronicles X, and that's running okay on Switch 1. And I think there was a data mine of it running at 60 frames for Switch 2 or an update or something. So I hope Xenoblade, even the previous Xenoblades like 2 and 3, get that patch. And on top of that, the Warriors game. Like I said, we know a new Warriors is coming out this year. Age of Calamity, Fire Emblem Warriors. I just want to play those co-op at 30 frames solid. That's not asking for much instead of like 10 or 15 frames co-op. Like, come on, it's barely playable at that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Andre, what about you? What are you looking for?
I think... Go ahead, Don, please.
Mm.
I thought you had something.
No, I didn't have something. I was thinking about
All right, I'll go. I'll let you think.
Yeah.
I actually would be surprised if Smash Ultimate doesn't get some kind of version of this. Especially with the possible knowledge of Smash still being years away if Sakurai... Here's the thing. Sakurai loves working on Smash, or at least rather doesn't want to give up control, seemingly. I could be off base. I don't think he's exactly said in those words, but yeah, I think he has hinted at that fact. And so I think if there's going to be another Smash Brothers, which there will be, it will be from him. But because he's busy with Kirby Air Riders, it's not coming anytime soon. But I do think as a stopgap, they could add an expansion to Ultimate. Now, obviously, it can't be entirely in the vein of like, you know, you can't have Switch 2 exclusive characters, of course, but you need to be compatible with Switch 1 still. But they could probably do, I think they could add in general, more DLC packs. Add a few more characters, you know, a handful, not many. But also, they could maybe add a new mode to the game, or maybe for Switch 2. Smash Run. It is a Smash Run update on Switch 2, where you're all in the same environment together. Like, that would be amazing. I don't think you need that to be for a new Smash Brothers game. I think it'd be perfect for Smash Ultimate, you know? It's things like that. Or bring back the board game down, which I know you like, right? You know?
Yeah. Smash Tour.
Like the Smash one would be awesome in allowing to game share with friends, like that specific mode. Like that'd be something to showcase it, right? Like it's like, oh, let me just game share you this game that has this mode that I have it and maybe you guys don't.
Right. Trying to think of others. ARMS would be actually a good one because it may never
ARMS
get a
is on the
sequel.
list.
Oh, it is. Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, good. All right, glad to hear that. What
We're gonna be playing with mouse controls though.
That would be funny. That would be funny.
Yeah. What? Anything else? Like it's a
I'm
testament.
trying to think of for the Switch library in my head and think about something that I would like to add. It's kind of hard, actually.
Yeah, it is.
Metroid Prime 1 remastered, right?
Yeah, someone mentioned that. Yeah,
I guess so.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay. Well, let's go ahead and... is there anything else we need to talk about before Mario Kart World, finally?
I think we covered most of the games, the free editions and the Switch 2 editions, and we covered all the first-party games, right? I think we're not missing anything.
No, not really.
Yeah, I don't think so either. All right, let's go ahead and move on. I might do a little intro for this just so I can maybe cut this out as its own discussion later. So you guys are seeing this early, potentially. Let's talk finally about Mario Kart World. I am freaking hyped for this game because, for one, I'm a massive Mario Kart fan. But on the other hand, as such, I am freaking sick of 10 years of Mario Kart 8. And seeing this in not only seeing it in the Direct, but seeing the expanded gameplay from Treehouse Live since... This game actually, I think, even went beyond what I could ever hope for. Because I thought Mario Kart was, like, locked into this specific vision Nintendo had for it, where they add, like, a gimmick or two each new game. That, I think, honestly, for the recent games, have been a little lacking. Like, anti-gravity didn't really change much. And even flying underwater didn't feel like it changed much. Like, all those what those more changed was just how the stages could be built. You know, crazy verticality, being able to go underwater. Like, it looked cool, but that was basically about it. Here is a massive game changer, putting everything into a single connected world. Which Double Dash kind of teased 20 years ago, by the way. But putting everything in a single world where you can literally drive anywhere and you can seemingly go off-road for like possibly insane shortcuts. I freaking adore this. And with 24 racers, you know, the biggest roster ever, which, by the way, also, I love this roster. They've gone crazy with it. They could race as fish bones? Like, that's nuts. Like, Pokey? Like, this is insane. That's what I want.
Hold up. I'm going to do the same again I did earlier. They're adding the Moo Moo Cow.
The Moo Moo Cow! How could I forget the Moo Moo Cow? The best course of all time now in character form. I already love this game. I already love everything about it, and honestly, I can see why now it's basically functioning as a 3D Mario for launch, because it is like it has that energy, and it's a 3D world, and I am so excited to get this game myself and play it nonstop. And it's the exact change Mario Kart needed after all these years. I'm so glad that Nintendo did not take the safe route with this, but they totally could have. They could have gone simple, make 32 more tracks, and that's it, But they're going nuts here, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, this game it's unbelievable that this is actually happening. Especially playing Mario Kart 8 for 10 years. Like, this is the refreshment, this is the refinement that we needed for a Mario Kart game. Yeah, and that roster is unbelievable. I think someone out there is saying, like, the count might be, like, 84 characters in the game, which is a little disappointing because I say that number because I think each custom or outfit slot is a character slot on the selection page. I don't think they're actually together. Like, if you play if you play I don't know if you saw that. Did you?
No, wait, how does that make sense though? Aren't there 10 for Mario alone?
Yeah, so I think I guess there would probably be more than that. Oh, and maybe the minions won't have costumes, but the main Mario characters will.
Wait, the minions from Illumination?
No,
the Mario movie? The ultimate crossover!
But like
Hey,
Snowman and Fishbones might not have outfits.
okay,
But like
but
if you look
here's
at like,
my main question of the day: how
go
does
ahead.
Goomba drive?
We don't
Just
know
the
yet, right?
feet.
I don't think we've seen him. I gotta know. Does he use his mind powers like a Mario baseball? Or does he... What I really want to see him is use his mouth. Is just him flying around with the steering wheel. He turns left to right.
Hey, I don't want to. I want to bother people, but remember Dr. Mario World? He was a stack, and he was a doctor.
That's true. Good point. But man, I did not think Nintendo could blow me away with a Mario Kart again, and they truly
Yeah.
have here. Like I am so, it looks so fun. Being able to drive anywhere and check out the world.
The roster is so out there, though.
It's so out
It's
there.
so good.
It's so good. Like
and then we should start talking about gameplay.
we should. I know.
But I already coined this phrase earlier, and I've said it multiple times over the last 2 days, and I think I should continue saying it. They really Forza Horizon Mario Kart, huh?
They really did. That's really what it is.
And Don, you bring that up, and like I never played Forza, but I've heard about the open world style of the games. I played a bit of Burnout Paradise, and I just hope
Yes.
that there's a lot to do when you're just driving around in the open world, right? Like I hope it's not
Yes,
just like,
there is.
oh, here's the open world, and you can just drive, and that's really what you do. Like I really hope there's maybe like challenges, like oh maybe like collect 100 rings before you get to this point, or maybe oh there's like an enemy that comes up and you have to just race them in like a drift race or something like that. I hope there's interactions in the open world.
For me, like traditional racing games have sort of become boring because of how Horizon exists. Because after Paradise, there was not much that was really like it. But the way that you just have an open scale world and can drive wherever you like and just mess around with it for a while, and if you're interested in a race or two, you do a race or two. That's what this seems like, and I'm perfectly okay with that.
I'm gonna make I don't know if it's a bold prediction. I'm gonna say it though. I think it's a bold prediction. I predict that there's a Mario Kart Direct coming up. They have to be high on some big features, some big things they have talked about. That I think is absolutely going to be a story-based mode. I don't think they made this giant world just for the sake of changing how the core races work. I think there's going to be an actual freaking story here.
There must be some, at least, or something that's just be an adventure-esque.
At the least, at the least,
yeah.
adventure-esque. But I think there'll be a light story. But my point more is there will be a big single-player campaign, and you'll be able to go around, maybe get quests from Toads. I'm gonna make the prediction: you can hop out of your cart in the single-player mode. I think you can fully explore. There are points in the game where you can see question blocks that you can't reach in your cart, seemingly, and it makes me wonder: can you hop out on foot? And I'm not betting the house on that one specifically, but I think it's possible. And there could even be buildings that maybe you go into, or something, or go into warp pipes or whatever. And I think this is going to blow people away. I think this is a secret best feature. Historically, single-player Mario Kart's kind of sucked, with a handful of exceptions. This could be like the Diddy Kong Racing shakeup that we've been asking for forever.
Yeah,
and Andre, you bring up that point of getting out of your cart, right, and having a specific single story mode or adventure mode single player. If that's the case, I can only see them maybe allowing you to play as Mario and Luigi, maybe, because if you're playing as Snowman, you're not jumping into him.
No, and Bowser, if he's a minion, of course he has, or a bad guy, he has to be doing his own thing. Yeah.
No, you're definitely going to play as Snowman. Don't kid yourself.
Real quick, Dubious Food in the chat goes, yes! I love this. That's what we want, right? I'll be honest. I've before said I don't want Mario Kart single player. I don't play Mario Kart for single player. I play for the multiplayer. And to be clear, even if there is no single story mode, I love what we have. But now that I see this giant open world, I'm seeing the potential now. I'm like, oh my god, this could be amazing if Nintendo really goes a distance. And that could be another possible explanation for that $80 price point. Again, not a fan of it, but on top of an epic multiplayer game, being also a giant epic single-player campaign, that kind of, again, better fills in the role for that lacking 3D Mario.
Yeah.
Mind blown.
Even if there's not a very single player focus, I think they're still going to add stuff that makes it worth it to free roam.
Yeah,
because it would else feel empty otherwise. So I do think there's at least something to it, and it might not necessarily be a full single player mode, but at least you can toy around and have fun with it.
Right. We already seen them race around with 4 other people, which, by the way, if there is a story mode, I would love a co-op too. Diddy Kong Racing had a co-op story mode. Why not play with Mario and Luigi going through the world together? This could finally be the Mario and Luigi 3D Mario we've been asking for forever.
What if you do a battle mode within the free roam world?
Oh, yeah, chat's been asking about battle mode.
That. Because I
Yeah.
don't think they've confirmed that yet, battle mode.
No, they haven't. I don't think they've said anything about it, and that's another thing they're
I
probably
think that
holding
would be a
off.
very logical way to just go to an area of the map and have a battle mode there.
You know what I want? I want them to go beyond battle mode. I want like Rocket League style stuff here. There's when
Oh,
there's a soccer field, you can play a game of soccer with Mario Karts. What if there's I don't know, like different unique challenges where maybe you have to collect as many coins as possible or something. Well, I guess I already have that kind of, but you know what I mean. I'm trying to think of the
Yeah,
different
sure.
ideas. Yeah, the flowers in the game, not flower, the feather. So maybe there could be like a jumping based challenge or like a platforming segment
oh,
almost.
yeah, that's a great idea. Having like little challenges around the world for you to
Mm-hmm.
do. It's like, oh, this area is specific to the I can't say it again. You said the little feather. So it's like what
Hmm.
you're supposed to do is just jump, jump, jump. They just give you ultimate feathers, and you have to complete it within like a minute or two.
Right.
Right.
I also like going into the actual tracks. I find it interesting that saw a lot of them. I didn't see a location for Rainbow Road.
No, they are hiding something there. Obviously, Rainbow Road, we all know, takes place in the sky. We've not seen anything sky-based yet, but
Mm.
there was also a tease. At one point, you hear Mario Galaxy music, and I'm thinking there's more going on here. I think there's a whole like second tier of tracks above. Maybe not as many as below, but I think so. I think there could be a Galaxy-inspired level here, but also I'm almost picturing a network of Rainbow Roads. You have all the Rainbow Roads as part of this giant network, including a brand new one, and I think
Hmm.
at some point in the game you'll unlock the access point to them, where like the Rainbow Roads like extend from the surface and you drive up them, to the sky, and
Wait,
Mm.
Andre, that's not crazy. For one, like you saying like that there's an upper area. I'm thinking Tears of the Kingdom. Like you have a whole upper section, and then there's gonna be a whole
the
ground
depths.
section. Yeah, there's gonna be the depths of driving. But no, you say that you say like the Rainbow Road, and you just drive onto the track, and then you're in the sky. The Mario movie has that, right? Like in the
Yeah.
Mario movie, they're taking the Rainbow Road to go from like the
Oh,
Donkey
yeah.
Kong
You're right.
country area all the way to the Mushroom
There's
Kingdom.
precedent again. Exactly, it connects the world together. Oh my god, I need this more than anything now. Oh man, but let's. Anything else about the open world? You guys.
So I guess the collectibles, which we did see in the treehouse today, right? Like we did see the outfits that you could collect because when Mario got like a burger, or they did show that in the trailer yesterday, but when Mario got a food item, he would eat it and then transform his clothes.
Right.
So what we did see in the treehouse, it looks like there's maybe 10 different clothing items per character, and it looks like there's different food items depending on like the region that you're in. Like I was talking to
You
you
know
about that
that,
earlier. Yeah, well, I was talking about that with you earlier. Like they were in the Japanese style level, and they got the what is it? The I can't think of the word tamagoyaki or tamagoyaki,
that
like the little.
sounds right.
I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so having that, and then on top of that too, we also did see for like a brief second that the city or the track areas had 10 different question mark blocks around them. So maybe those are the collectibles that you'll be getting for each specific area.
I hope there's more. I love the idea of collectibles
Yeah.
in general. We'll talk about the outfits in a moment. I don't know if I even understand them. But I would
Sure.
love it. There are like hidden collectibles. Again, Diddy Kong Racing, it had keys hidden around the world
Yeah.
that unlocked new things that you could do, or how to get to the boss, I think, or the battle stages, whatever. I would love if they do something like that here. Again, the story mode or the 3D Mario elements of it would be great. Like whether it's finding power stars or maybe enhancements for your vehicle. I guess we know that doesn't seem to be in the game this time, which I'm actually happy about.
Right.
Thank God. But real quick, we had some more comments on the space idea of Rainbow Road. Dubious Food said there's a rocket ship. Yeah, pointing out my analysis. Maybe the
Yeah.
rocket ship's the key here. Major Hurricane says, imagine in Mario Kart solar system. But I would love if there were a stage where you are, like, it has an anti-gravity mechanic from Mario Galaxy, where you can, like, hop from planet to planet, at the least, right?
And maybe that's
Right.
why they're not showing the anti-gravity right now, because it's not going to happen until you're in space.
That makes so much sense. Oh my god, that actually makes
Yeah.
so much sense. I love that. Yeah, good idea. Although, to bring it back to the mechanics real quick, there's no anti-gravity from what we've seen so far, but the carts do have the ability to, like, ride on walls still, you
Yeah.
know? They're able to hop in between walls at points.
Yeah, there was the wall jumping at one point on like
Yeah.
the little girders or the grates or whatever, and then on top of that, a new mechanic. There's grinding now.
I called that
You
during the
did call that,
stream!
which is insane.
Yeah.
You called that, but I'm like, what does the grinding actually do? Does it just give you a boost? I was hoping that there'd be a little meter like Tony Hawk, where you have to kind
Oh,
of balance
yeah,
yourself
balance
on
it.
it. But I think it's pretty straightforward. You just go onto the rail, and then you can jump off it or on it like anytime.
It did suggest, they did
Right.
say something in Treehouse, something about, like, how you can grind more, or you can, like, lean into it or something, I think.
Oh, really?
It sounded like it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not quite sure exactly how that feels, but Yeah, that's a fun new mechanic. Like, I like that. Like, it gives you more to do during a race, and especially this more open world where you can grind up like power lines and railings to like reach these really crazy vertical areas. Like that is such a good idea. And furthermore, I love how it ties into like how shortcuts will work, because I mentioned before, like I found the shortcuts in the newer Mario Karts kind of boring. Like they don't feel that much risk versus reward. They don't really take you that far off the even beaten path. It's more like a little quick detour. And these seem like these could be game changers where you're on entirely different pathways. And that could be a lot of fun, especially with 24 racers now.
I do think there must be some sort of boundary when you're racing in the Grand Prix, though.
I think there would be, yeah. I don't think it's fully open.
There's definitely going to be a boundary, because I think the game still applies or allows you to have that option of the auto driving, which was introduced in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Or if you're playing with people that don't quickly play too much, you can just put on like auto gas and auto driving. So I think there definitely will be barriers in the Grand Prix.
Yeah, I think there would have to be. Real quick, Toady says, in the segment where they explain the specs of the Switch 2, there's a brief moment of Mario driving in the ocean, and there's a large cloud enemy, maybe a boss. God, I don't remember this.
I did, yeah. So when they were showing like the Switch specs for like the first time, I noticed it too. I watched it a few times. It's the cloud enemy from Mario Odyssey.
3D World? Or
it was also 3D World?
Yeah.
Oh, the one that blows on you, right?
Yeah,
the Mario Kart ride as well in the Mario Party minigame.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did look at it a few times. I'm like, I was hoping that it was an enemy, something like a Diddy Kong Racing. Like I was thinking the octopus
bosses?
enemy.
Yeah,
bosses. So that's what I was hoping for.
It did seem like you were pretty much driving in open waters, and I think it's very close to the remake of the Peach Beach track.
Oh yeah, I did say that to you, Andre. Yeah.
Yep, Nick was talking about that. Yeah, a video on the website like shows a very similar design. I don't know if it's necessarily exactly meant to be Peach Beach, but it does look similar, and even has a quack. What's that name? The ducks.
Yeah, I mean,
quack quack.
Something like.
Yeah. I mean, if I look at the actual
Cataquack.
If I look at actual design of the track, it does seem very similar.
It does, yeah.
Because you do see one frame with the Daisy Cruiser in the background.
Oh, I actually missed that. Then that cements it. I agree. Although, interestingly, with you not being able to go in the water, that could change how it feels potentially. If you're not able to, because right now we know how it works is like the gliders seem to be gone, and its place is like something similar. And I actually thought initially it looked like you had powered flight, but it looks like it may just still be very glider-like. Am I mistaken on that?
Glider-like.
Yeah,
I was hoping that
it feels very glider-like.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's a little disappointing. I was hoping for a little bit more like Sonic Racing Transformed, but with a more open nature of the gameplay, maybe that's for the best. Maybe that will work here. It's a little bit like Breath of the Wild. But I do like the addition of boats. Or your transformation into like a hovercraft or boat of some kind. I always found underwater, as I mentioned earlier, kind of boring. It didn't really change anything. It just looked different. But boats could absolutely change how it feels. Again, Diddy Kong Racing, and I love that. So
Diddy Kong Racing and Sonic Racing Crossworlds, right? Like they use that mechanic so well in both of those games. And like you said, like just driving underwater in Mario Kart 8 was just, I'm underwater now and I'm driving. This doesn't really make sense.
My screen's blue now. Yeah, it didn't. So, Don,
but I think free roam. I hope it's, even if there's not a full dedicated single player mode, and I'm not necessarily suggesting that there should be. I hope at least like exploring the world is rewarding, because what I'm like, my clear reference to it once again is Forza Horizons, because that's the most recent style of games that do this. Like even if you don't participate in races, there is always something in the distance or like a thing you can interact with.
Right.
And if that feels like a constant feel, like there's also like a constant reminder of, hey, I should try free roam and do this.
Yeah, good point. Builder Jr. says, did anyone catch Daisy's emblem on the castle from Shy Guy Bazaar? Could this be a part of Sarasa Land? Now that's interesting, because everyone has long thought that Daisy is intrinsically tied to deserts because of that being the first world in Super Mario Land. Now, technically, all 4 worlds in that game are part of Sarasa Land, so she's no more tied to that kingdom than any others. But I would love if Nintendo leaned into that idea, especially in advance of the Mario movie 2, in which Daisy very possibly could appear, and I would love if that desert played a role in her kingdom as well. So yeah, I'm all for it. I have not seen this. I'll have to go take a look. Because that'd be amazing. I would love to actually embrace that.
there's so much details you can overlook in this world, because like I just mentioned the detail earlier, but even looking at clips of the website, I see stuff every single time I
Oh,
look at those.
I was working.
It's bizarre.
It is. It's crazy. Like it's impossible to cover. I was working on analysis last night. I got it out luckily, but I realized, one, I could be here literally forever finding new details, and two, if I am, there's gonna be more details coming, like in today's treehouse, which sure enough, and the direct coming up. I just gotta get this video out. So originally I was doing like a full track by track breakdown. Like, this is stupid. Like, I'm gonna be here for weeks, and so luckily people seem to appreciate the analysis.
No
for
kidding.
What it was. Yeah. But yeah, what else about this game excites us? Like, any other mechanics we haven't touched on yet? Like, or anything else in the hopes, or...
I mean, we touched on it briefly, but I'm a huge fan of outfits, right? Like, I just love dressing up my characters, especially when you could do it as Mario Odyssey. Like, that was such a cool thing. And I'm happy that they're making it more of a bigger deal in this compared to, I guess, the previous Mario Karts, right? Because, like, I don't want to play as Gold Peach or Gold Mario, right? Like I want an actual outfit on my character.
Yeah. Obviously, Tour already leaned into that with the different versions of characters. And I'm just glad that they're going all the way and just adding that as a feature to a more, I would say, more mainline Mario Kart, or even though there are tour tracks in. It's kind of weird. But it's good to see that continue after now Tour has just being stopped supporting, and to see it in like an actual mainline Mario Kart is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. I like the idea of the outfits. I mean, obviously, I think that's good. It's just fun to see different versions of characters, especially with 24 racers. You're probably going to get some duplicates, or if not a lot of duplicates. But the thing I don't understand is just how, like, why are they in the races? Like the takeout option.
Yeah.
I don't get that. Like, am I going out of my way to unlock a costume during a race that I want to win? Or is there another reason for it? Like, I just don't fundamentally understand it. I find that a little confusing.
So yeah, maybe if it's single player only, they'll have that just for another option.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can see that.
If you're playing with friends, like it's not like I'm going to tell my friends like, hey guys, let's like deviate from the race and let's go get food.
Can you guys take it easy on me? I go get a sick Mario costume of him wearing a sombrero.
Right now.
Yeah. I don't get it. Like, I wonder, like, is there a gameplay element to it? I don't think there is. Everything we've seen, it looks like they control the exact same, right? So,
you
get a boost, you said, though. A small boost.
Yeah,
right.
Boost right away, and I think that's the only gameplay mechanic besides the outfit looking cool.
That's so weird.
But yeah, the actual mechanics of the game, they look pretty solid. Nothing to really complain about. I feel that they're not. It doesn't feel like there are as many improvements as I thought there would be while looking back at it. Like, outside of like grinding and doing the little smaller tricks, there's not much new in terms of actual racing mechanics, which I don't mind, because Mario Kart 8 was already really good in that regard.
Well, that to your point, that's kind of why I would, I personally would want more of that unique stuff, But I will say, had it just been what we've seen so far, I might be feeling that way. Like, it's a little underwhelming. But I think when you combine it with the open worlds, like, dear God, this changes everything,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and like the grinding Sorry, go ahead.
To me, the main mechanic is not like the gameplay mechanics, because we know what Mario Kart is like. To me, it's the overall styling of the game that makes it far more interesting than anything else.
You know what? Exactly. Going back to the glider, like, I was really hoping that we'd have power flight this time, but the more I think about it, I think the more, like, the glider actually makes perfect sense here. Like, within the context of it being a broader race, you can actually... Because my main issue with the gliders is less that they were gliders, and more that it didn't feel like you could do anything with them. You were, like, locked into a little path usually. Even there were times when it almost felt like you would hit invisible walls. Like, Toad's Turnpike had these weird areas where, like, you would suddenly be pulled to the ground, it felt like. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right? It was super weird. But here, I don't get that sense. Like, here it seems like gliding could really change it up, and you have options for where to go. And so that's really cool. And also grinding as well. Like, I think that's going to be a kind of a game changer, especially with how we see it used in the map design. And, like, again, with the weird wall hopping thing, it's like, that's crazy. Yeah, I think everything combined is, like, really making this land on all levels. Because don't get me wrong, I would want almost nothing more than to bring double dash mechanics back. But besides that, I think they did the best possible job imaginable of making Mario Kart interesting again.
For sure.
Yeah, exactly. Like, when we say we've been playing 8 for such a long time, it's like, besides bringing double dash, it's like, how else do you make Mario Kart interesting? You make the complete world the main gimmick of
right, exactly. That's it. Yep. Yeah. That's a great point. Go ahead.
What do you think of the actual tracks, though? Because the actual tracks seem wider than they were previously. I mean, obviously to accommodate for the more amount of racers in the world. But would you think that you want like small curves so that you have some congestion going on there to have the battle for the first place or the for the front ahead?
Yeah, so I think there is going to be an issue there, right? Like I think a lot of the courses are going to be made for 24 players in mind, but I think also
Yeah,
like the Grand Prix courses, even though they're going to be reusing some more courses for the rally or the knockout rally and the Grand Prix, I think the Grand Prix ones might reuse. Say like at your Peaches Stadium, it might be more condensed to have those close quarter combat interactions with players because again, you're just playing these 4 races in a row, and it's not the
yeah.
knockout challenge where it's like, oh, you want people straggling or falling behind because then those people are actually out of the race.
It's an interesting balance. I think you need to find like a middle ground to it. I think they did a well enough job of doing that because the thing is like yes, you can build like very tight courses, but it also doesn't exactly accommodate for the amount of players that they're currently going to operate with.
Yeah, that is actually a legit concern. I remember like going back to some classic tracks that classic tracks they brought back in Mario Kart Deluxe and going back to the original versions in the older games. Like they feel better here because like they're more narrow and it feels like it takes a little bit more skill or it more or not even that. It just feels like there's more happening because it's all within the condensed area. I will say I haven't been too affected by that yet from what I've seen in Mario Kart 8 World. Oh, sorry, Mario Kart World.
Not great world.
Yeah, but I think one thing they're doing here is they're creating a lot of multiple routes, and those multiple, like the split routes, are like generally on the smaller side. When you're not on like a freeway or something.
Sure, yeah.
The area where it triggered, I don't want to say triggered. The area where where I noticed it the most, Don, to your point, is in the is it knockout where you're racing to the next track, or is that both?
Yeah,
of them?
knockout is like the 99 F-Zero
Yeah.
99
And that's where you
style.
actually racetrack to racetrack, right? Or is that in both of them? Do you go
It's in
racetrack?
both. Yeah.
Okay, that's it. In the in between segments, that's the part that looked a little boring to me. I'm like, oh, these clearly aren't meant to be like they're not as well designed as a typical racetrack.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be boring racing, racing to racetrack. And I'll also say this may not be a real concern. I was a little I don't even know how you would address this, but I was hoping like it would feel more natural racing racetrack to racetrack, but it just treats it like as its own like race. So like the race ends and you move into the start of the next race. And that seemed a little weird to me too, I don't know. Maybe.
No, I noticed it on Crown City. I think they were going from I don't know which area to Crown City.
Yeah.
And when they were going, I think like 2 of the 3 laps were just driving on the highway, and the
Right.
last one was actually in the city. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, yeah, why are you making those parts like?
Yeah.
I know it's cool. It should have just been like maybe one to get to the city, and then the last 2 should have been it. It shouldn't have been the final lap is in the actual level.
Maybe their concern is that if you do it through like one lap or all 3 laps through a city, it might become boring. I don't necessarily feel it that way because now you're just doing it as the long tracks in Mario Kart 8, right? Like you're just
Right.
doing multiple checkpoints and
That's
the
what it
end
seems
point is like
yeah.
literally at that point the end of the city. I think there is a concern there that you make the first 2 parts less interesting and then the final part mega engaging.
Yeah.
Um, it's hard. I don't. I think they need to find the balance there.
Mhm.
Once again, from the things we've seen, I think they did a fair enough job. I just think most of the first checkpoints could be the least exciting things in
Right.
every race, really.
Yeah, I'm not like super concerned right now. Like as I mentioned, I'm so freaking beyond hype for this game. It's just a possible concern
Absolutely.
that we'll see how it shakes out. But another weird thing with, actually not a weird thing. I wanted to compliment the game with like I tweeted it out, but there's this awesome map on the website that shows like how every course can interlink. It's freaking wild.
Yeah, it's
like
it's so cool.
it's so cool. Like
cool.
I love that. You have one track lead to a whole different set of tracks, And I'm curious more to see how the game actually handles that. We've already seen 2 cups that share one track already, just at different times of day. But I wonder, like, are you gonna be able to create your own tracks here? And
But
also
like your own like circuit or something. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, let's like these 5 instead of or these 4 instead of these 4.
Exactly,
Like, what the game
or-
already gives you.
or a random circuit, or what I really
Yeah.
want. I want all cup to come back. You race every possible permeation of these track designs, from one to the other. Like I want to go through every track in the game.
I wouldn't rule out the thing that there would be an all-round cup or an all.
I think there will
cup
be.
because
Yeah,
they also do it in open world racing games where you just do a whole round tour of
exactly.
the island.
That makes
So
sense.
it would be a very smart idea if
It
I'm being
absolutely
honest.
would be. But we know we haven't seen all the cups yet, for sure. So, Yeah, man. Real quick, JY Jackie says Super NES Mario Circuits 1, 2, and 3 are back. I actually missed this. I did not see that was. Are they on the map? I'm guessing they must be.
I think you can see them maybe in the background in like a specific stage. But Andre, I don't know, or even Don, if you guys saw this, have we seen what CCs the options are for the game?
No,
Like when you start it up, I don't think
we saw a
So they
menu,
did-
didn't we?
did we see in the menu, was it 50, 100, 150, and then maybe 200? I mean, I guess mirror mode's not going to be here, right?
Oh, they pull a Twilight Princess and map the entire world.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. That's a good one. I'm fine with that.
I think
Mirror
I
mode
think I
sucks.
think I saw in the menus I saw 50, 100, and 150. I don't think I saw
Yeah.
200.
No, 200.
Armin says Treehouse showed 50, 100, 100, and 150.
Okay.
Yeah. I think if there is a 200, I think that would probably be another future like expansion or something, like do DLC. I'm sure
Yeah.
actually here's another thing we have touched on. I think this is going to be an ongoing platform for them. It's not going to be a one and done. They're going to build on this game, I think. At least with characters and maybe new modes. Although thinking on now, like new tracks would be weird. Like how would they handle that? Like if they added DLC tracks, a new continent.
I mean,
No, I think what you simply do is you add a warp pipe, right?
Yeah, I like that idea.
You add a warp pipe and you just
I
go
mean,
through it, and then
yeah.
it magically takes you to whatever the next part is. Like, oh, that makes sense in the Mario world.
I would say, once again, comparing this directly to the only thing I can, which is Forza Horizon,
Right.
they would just add complete separated islands.
Oh, that's what they do.
Okay, that's brilliant. Yeah, that'd be great. You see like an island stroll up one day, you build a bridge to it or something, and yeah, you're set. That'd be really fun,
Yeah.
actually. And and what's interesting about that too is that would change how the courses interlink, with the ones nearby as well. Like it would just change a lot of things. Man, I'm so excited, so excited for Mario Kart World.
I can't believe we're going to talk about this again in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we will. We'll be
Yeah.
back. There'll be more to say for sure. And are we even done yet? Right now, is there anything about this game? Anything else we haven't touched on yet?
Oh, I guess we briefly touched about it. The no custom kart vehicles anymore.
Thank
you don't get to
God!
pick your tire, you don't get to pick your
Yeah.
body, and you don't get to pick your glider anymore. Gliders don't exist, so.
I know some people are upset by this. I'm not at all. I thought there's a few
No.
problems I had with it. Go ahead, Don.
No, I don't see the issue with it. Like, it became too meta to all hell and back.
Exactly.
It's for me. It was time to cut loose of it. Like it was fun in the last couple of Mario Karts, and I don't mind it that it was there. But having just one unified body and knowing what you get out of a kart is completely 100% valid.
And I think you make up for that in the customization of the different outfits, right? Like I love
Oh,
taking
for
my
sure.
time and customizing my car and making it unique to me. Even though like sometimes I'll make a car even though if it's not good, I just like how it looks. But if they take that out, I mean they did take it out. Since they did take it out and they give us these outfits for the characters, you see so many outfits for like I saw outfits for Bowser Jr. I'm like, "Oh my God, that's adorable." Like I want to be like that Bowser Jr. in this specific car. So I don't care about not making a car anymore.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah, you guys basically touched on it. Like it created the ugly meta sense, where everyone just chooses the same parts and characters. And let's be honest, most creations were ugly. Like they didn't go together well. Like they were hideous. And beyond that, my friends would take forever to choose their setup, especially if they didn't know what parts they wanted. So we'd sit there for 20 minutes while they're playing Make a Kart. I'm like, this is not why I play Mario Kart. So I'm glad they simplified it. And plus you can just get more cohesion with these custom or these bespoke designs anyway. So
I have almost a really. I had somebody in the chat, like JR Jackie, about talking about the tour tracks. I have a really weird idea for a DLC map.
go ahead.
Just make a small world map with a bunch of the tour cities interconnected.
No.
Oh, so it's just like so you're saying like it's actual like since the tour places were actual places in real life that they're just gonna go to like the real world.
You have the U.S. or like the world continent somehow. Yeah.
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 Yeah. I'll be honest. I don't ever want to see those back. They're already borderline with freaking Sunday. What's it called? Sunday High Sunday.
Well,
Sky High Sunday.
Sky Sunday.
Sky High Sunday.
Yeah, that track's coming back for whatever reason. No one liked that track. I don't know what they're doing with it. Maybe it'll be better.
Oh wait, you know why they're bringing it back?
Why?
Because at the very beginning, you shoot out and you're in the gliding section. When you land and you're at the steps, they have the grind rails. That's why they're bringing it back.
Oh, you're probably right. You can grind on those now. That makes sense. Yeah. But hopefully it's better here. But I will say
Yeah.
I would still take that over any of the city tracks. The city tracks to me never felt right. I found them hard to read. It was confusing to figure out where to go. Even with the giant arrow signs, I'll still go the wrong way sometimes, and also like another thing that affected me, like the little sidewalks. I keep feeling I can drive on them. You can't though. I keep running into them. Anyways. And the
Wait,
scale
Andre,
was
so
I wonder if you could drive there.
So you mentioned like not being able to drive on the sidewalks, and we did notice in one of our most recent shorts that traction isn't an option anymore. And we did also
for your
notice
card
that, like,
stats.
yeah. So when you're driving off road, at least maybe just in the open world gameplay element, that your tires actually expand.
Right.
So like I'm not sure if like what's going to be the option of what doesn't allow you to drive on those places like the sidewalk and what does allow you. Like I said, maybe it is just the open world element that just changes your tires so you can drive everywhere, because there's going to be all these grassy plains and they don't want you to just slow down. It's like, all right, I'm going to take a lot longer since I'm driving on this like cool looking area.
That's a really good point. Could it be possible? Could it tie back to the character choice? That's how it used to work.
Oh,
your off-road stats were, the heavier the character, the slower you went. So maybe it ties back to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man! Oh, I see a Baby Park mentioned in the chat. Baby Park needs to be here. I don't know if it is. We could probably figure it out if it's on the map already. But if they only do the one lap thing, it'll be hilarious. Just go to Baby Park for a quick little detour, then you're out instantly after 5 seconds.
Well, okay, but listen, what if they did it for one checkpoint, but then you actually drive for the actual theme park?
That would be awesome.
That would be
That'd be sick. That's a good idea. You could go on the rides in the background and stuff. Like you go on, like a roller coaster or something. You drive on a roller coaster track.
That's what's going to be in space by Rainbow Road. It's going to be the improved Baby Park that's actually in space.
I love it. Roger, member of the channel, thank you, Roger, says, God, there were way too many city tracks. I groaned every time they announced another one in the expansion packs. Yeah, honestly, every time I come across one in our weekly tournaments, I'm like, God, not again.
There's no way you can groan at Singapore. I think that track is amazing. I love
Singapore.
I do like.
There's some I like more than others for sure. Yeah, Singapore's pretty good. Heavens has dropped the price. I think that's going to be a common complaint. But I did see another comment earlier. It was hilarious. I wish I kept track of who said it. They were saying, we were talking about the story mode. Like, the $8 price point isn't looking so bad anymore. So yeah, if they add a story mode like as robust or close to as like a Diddy Kong Racing, or maybe more like a conventional 3D Mario, not to that same degree, of course, I dare say they may be justifying that price. I mean, I'm buying the game anyway, but I think it becomes more understandable if you have like this massive single player component and a massive online component. I can kind of see it, but if they, I'm buying it regardless, to be honest. It's going to be, I want to play this game, but I think that would go a long ways in justifying that gap to people who are upset by it, that they would better see. Like, it's effectively 2 games in 1 at that point, so.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting in 2 weeks to see what they're actually going to do, because they showed a lot.
They did.
They did show a lot.
Yeah.
So they have to be hiding some big things, at least I would hope. Why have a whole direct for something if you're not showing some major new features?
Yeah, how long do we think the direct's going to be then? Do we think just like 20 minutes? Do we think 40 minutes in the middle somewhere?
Hard to
it's
say,
gonna be like 20 to 30, right?
Like 30.
To me, it feels like a 15 or 20 minute done deal. Because why would you show more of every single track? That seems like a bad.
That's what
move.
I'm saying. I don't think they will do that. I mean, they'll show some of that. I think they're going to spend a lot of time on hopefully other things, battle mode, single player component, if not story mode. And I actually think,
so.
Yeah, I hope so too. And I'm thinking 30 minutes feels right for it, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, like you said, this is going to be an ongoing game, right? Like I think they probably touch up on that in the direct, right?
That's a good one.
And be like, we're not just done like on the release. Like you can look forward to, maybe they'll call it season or something like that, which comes out in like August. So.
Yeah, and actually, we have not actually even learned anything of how the online works proper. Like, how does the matchmaking work? Like how. Like, is it similar to Mario Kart 8? Like, what do you choose tiers, or like what races you want to do? Like, how does this even work?
So in the treehouse, I think it was locally that they were both doing that. Maybe they were playing on 2 separate switches, because I think they did have their own screens.
Yeah.
But what they did was, I think you just like click on like a player's name or something, and then you get to pick like which you want to do, like which cup, and then it just randomly picks the one out of the 2, and then you go right into the races.
Right.
Yeah, maybe everyone
Okay.
chooses.
Yeah.
Maybe what everyone chooses well, I guess they'd have to be a region. You can't choose like tracks on opposite ends of the world. Yeah, I wonder if there's a way you could
Yeah.
choose tracks nearby though, and then they combine it into a single cup. Like maybe
Oh,
it's
that'd be interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't. Yeah, I don't know if that would overcomplicate things or what. Toady says they're gonna add a battle pass. If there were a game to be, it'd be this or Splatoon. One of those two might get it. But I don't know. I don't think Mario Kart will get a battle pass. But that'd be hilarious though.
I mean, Splatoon 3 technically had battle passes, but they were just building game with the
Right.
catalogs.
Yeah, exactly. Interesting. Any other hopes for this game before we wrap it up here? And chat, feel free to chime in too. Anything else you want us to address, or any hopes you have for this game?
Hopes. The music sounds
good.
awesome. When they first started with the harmonica playing, I was like, "This rocks!
Yeah.
This music!" And then eventually, when they showed Bowser and the other villains, I think it was like playing Bowser's theme. I'm like, "Oh, this is so good! This theme song is amazing."
And then the Galaxy song at one point.
Yeah, and then the Galaxy song. Yeah, and then Toad's Factory. Like there were so many little hints.
Toad's Factory's
music
on the map. People have found. So.
Oh really? That's
yeah.
awesome. If the music's playing, it's got.
It's got to be. I know. Yeah, it has to be there. So. Don, any other hopes or thoughts?
No. I mean, we'll likely talk more about this game soon enough. Anyway,
we will be.
So,
well,
yeah.
I have someone mentioned that they want to see a Goomba Tower character. Are there any other characters you want to see? I personally want that too. That would be freaking hilarious. You get a solo Goomba, you get the Goomba Tower Goomba. What else?
They're already a doctor, so what else can they not do? Yeah.
Oh, I guess one more thing. Are we going to see Mii characters, and then are we going to see any Nintendo characters in this?
Nintendo characters maybe down the line. Mii characters, it kind of depends. I mean, the Mii option is still in the system menu as far as we know. So it's the Mii maker is still built in. Are they going to use it? Hard to say.
Yeah.
I don't think we saw it in the character selection menu, right? Like, and I don't know where you put that if you have like a sort option.
Don't hate me. I don't want the Miis here. I like Miis. They don't fit in Mario Kart. They feel weird to me. And...
Okay, but hear me out. What if they did the Mii maker from Miitopia?
I didn't even use that one, but
that was pretty detailed, right?
Yeah, that was extremely detailed.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, if they're gonna add Miis, add the best version of it, right?
Yeah.
I'm seeing the chat that bring up some other good characters. Egad, yes, Egad needs to be here finally. Yeah. Jeez, he's had his creations in the game. Where's Egad himself? And there's gotta be a Luigi's Mansion track. Is that somewhere on that map? I'll have to take a look.
There has to be.
There has to be, right? We have seen
a
fun haunted house like level, but one involving movies. Like there's a giant reel.
Oh, I did see that with King Boo driving.
Oh yeah.
Which is so strange, but I'm cool with that. Like I love these new theme ideas. I actually thought about making this video a while ago. I kind of wish I had now. But like, what themes have Nintendo not explored for Mario Kart yet, right? And maybe I'll do it after this. But now there'll be even fewer themes to think of. Diddy Kong, yeah, we talked about that earlier. Diddy Kong Erasure, where's that? Someone wants Petey Piranha back. That'd be a good one. He's kind of the original off-the-wall character, I feel like. He's like the first, like, whoa, what the hell he's doing here, And that was kind of fun. Toadsworth, yeah, but Toadsworth is dead, as we all know now. They killed him for this. Cappy, yeah, that's not a bad one. Cappy. Who else? Dixie, yeah, she's in tours, so there's hope for her. Captain Toad's costume's a good one, absolutely.
I don't think we got Funky Kong hasn't been announced yet, right? I think Donkey Kong's the only DK member.
Right, so great point. Where's Funky Kong? We need Funky Kong after Tropical Freeze, especially. Also, someone mentioned Someone mentioned Donkey Kong Jr. That'd be a hilarious throwback. Bring that guy back. Technically in Mario Kart Tour as well, but
yeah.
So, but as a skin of DK. But yeah, we'll see how this works. Pac-Man.
Yes.
Oh yes, finally bring in something from the arcades. Pac-Man would be great.
And it's Pac-Man's 45th anniversary this year, so like it would be crazy. Even though Pac-Man is in that Mario Kart, it'd be crazy to have him in for like that reason too.
And the Ghost too. Yeah, we didn't touch too much on the spin-off character idea. I don't think we get spin-off characters here yet. I could see that being like an expansion though, right? Like here's Nintendo Island rolling in. You get Link, Kirby, or whoever else, And actually, Connor says since Kirby has his new racing game like Kirby Air Riders, I wonder if we can see Kirby in Mario Kart World. What do you think?
I think it's possible. Like you said, like that idea of having these other islands where it's like, oh, you drive over here, you take the warp pipe, and now you're in a F-Zero specific region, or you're in a Zelda specific region.
Yeah, I don't think we see Kirby at launch, just because I don't think they want any any possible confusion between this and Air Riders, for as different as they may be,
Yeah.
then why buy this if I get Kirby and Mario Kart, right? But I do think down the line that would be a really smart addition. Maybe even closer to Kirby Air Riders release. Maybe shortly after, like add Kirby to Mario Kart. Like, hey, they got that synergy, you know? So, yeah. Anything else, guys? Or have we covered it? No!
Yeah,
No
yeah.
Mercedes, Almangello. No Mercedes!
Oh, yeah, no. This game does not need to
It's
have real
pure.
world crossovers.
No, put in a Mercedes.
Ah, yes, you got it, Don. I'll say if we see a Mercedes, then Switch 2 sales are in the toilet. That tells you they went too far. No one's buying Switch 2.
Yeah, they should add BMW instead.
Yeah, exactly. That's desperate Nintendo right there. So,
But that was the only reason why they added it, right? Because the Wii U wasn't doing well.
100%.
Like, I have no idea why that was in Mario Kart.
no, that's exactly it. Their sales were in the toilet. I don't think they ever admitted this, but that's exactly why. Like they needed money. They were looking for money any which way. And to their credit, that's how we're finally starting to bear the full fruits of that labor, because that's where they really started expanding. They went into mobile games, for better or worse. But the movie started coming about there. The theme park started coming about there. And I'm a big fan of both those. And we're getting more of those, as well. So that's great. But that Mercedes line, they crossed a Mercedes thing. I hated that. I'm like, this is disgusting, Nintendo. Using your character just to hawk, expensive wares that most people can't even afford anyway, like...
my brother picks that car every time. I'm like, it's not Mario Kart. Like, why are you picking that?
I know you're joking, JY Jackie. It wasn't an attack on you at all. So, or whatever that was. I think you commented something else. So in any case, yeah, anything I've commented on is not an attack on anyone's stance. So, yeah. Any final thoughts? Just look at the chat here. Are they bringing up? Oh, a Nintendo World track. That'd be fun. Bringing a real world location into the game, like Super Nintendo World, like actually race to the theme park, right?
Well, because even with that, I noticed that over in like the dinosaur area that they have like a Jurassic themed level. It's not like Dino Jungle, which is also there from GameCube, but like you're actually going through where the dinosaurs live, and they're definitely in like cages almost.
Yeah,
and it feels like Jurassic Park.
It does. And again, another throwback to Double Dash, which had its own dinosaur, Dino Jungle, I think. Yeah, Don.
Sorry?
I thought you were gonna say. I thought you had something you wanted to say.
No. I was just reading the chat.
Okay. All right. Well, now that we've discussed everything, how are we feeling even now about Mario Kart? Like, are we more hyped somehow than before? Like, what are your hopes and your expectations for the Direct? I guess to whatever degree we haven't discussed it.
I really
I'm
hope
pretty
we go into that single player stuff like we mentioned,
Yeah.
right? Like tomorrow they'll probably still show off some stuff at the Treehouse Direct, but I hope. I mean, this showing was already kind of like a blowout, right? Like, so I can't imagine what else they're going to have to talk about for 20, 30 minutes. So they definitely still have juice left before it actually comes out.
Yeah.
Right.
Get from Yoshi Cafe.
I think for me, it's like, for me, it's a sort of a known entity after the Switch 2 presentation. There's not much they need to show me to really be convinced.
No, I'm already sold. Yeah, it seems redundant.
But it means that I likely have some stuff in the bank that they want to discuss, and I hope they do. But yeah, there's still stuff that feels lingering that they should talk about in some way, shape, or form. I don't necessarily think it's all big stuff, but for me, it would just more cement it. Is all.
Wait, do we think this game's going to have game share? Because they did say that select Switch 2 games are going to have this feature.
I don't think they're gonna give immediately Mario Kart game share.
Well,
do you think they retroactively change it after all the flack they've gotten?
That's a good one. I wonder if the open world nature of the game makes that harder to do.
Yeah. I don't think they will do that. Even if they would do it, I don't think it would need to give it time, because this is their big launch game. Let's be fair.
Okay, there's a couple more comments I have to address, because Armin, and a couple people touched on this now. Armin says, is the T-Rex from Oz going to be a playable character? Oh my god. It opens the door to it. I normally don't care about Mario Kart rosters. It's always the same people over and over, and bad variants of them. But this one is really switching it up. And I could see, like, not a full-sized T-Rex, obviously, but like a little mini version.
Switch it up?
Yeah, exactly. That'd be amazing. I would love that.
No, they're going to add the band member from Mario Odyssey.
Hey, actually, that'd be fun. I would love those guys. Yeah, that's a good one. The whole band crammed into one tiny cart.
An actual man in Mario Kart.
Yeah, that's right. It wouldn't make any sense, but whatever. Moeka Chan says, I cried seeing this game. I don't love hearing about people crying, but I like hearing that. That's a great reaction. Let's see here. Anything else? Roger just wants to play it. Yeah, that's where we're all at. I
Yeah,
think.
that's fair.
Where's King Babam? Says Bay. Yeah, that'd be a good character.
We have one from X Grizz says Chris Pratt Mario outfit question mark.
I honestly myself, I would love to have the Mario movie representation here, except for the fact it would be, it would be a little weird compared to the game versions, even though they don't look all that different. But I'd allow for it. I love the Mario movie. I would love any representation of it here, and we are kind of getting it to a degree, with the Donkey Kong design.
Donkey Kong, yeah,
exactly. So, and especially if it's Chris Pratt talking, hey, that'd be amazing. So. All right, I think we're going to finally wrap up here, guys. We've gone over 2.5 hours, which is longer than we had expected. So thanks so much for joining me, Nick and Don. Where can people follow you at if they want more from you? Let's start off with you, Don.
You can find me at Nintendo. That's NENTENDAAN. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on Twitch. I'm on YouTube. There you go.
All right. How about you, Nick?
Yeah, you can follow me on my personal channel, Steftendo. That's STEFTNDO. I make videos over there, and also been making videos over here on GameXplain.
Yeah, and they've been great. So we had quite a few these last few days. All right, well, with that, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for hanging out with us. It's been a ton of fun. We'll probably do another one of these again following the Switch 2 Direct. And we don't do these discussions with live streams too often, so let me know what you think of this. Did you enjoy it being a live stream versus just a pre-recorded video? Or do you prefer those? We'd love to hear it. See, we had a lot of engagement. It's been fun bouncing ideas off of you and hearing your ideas. But yeah, I will be honest. I think I'm at a 10 for hype with this game. I think Mario could get there again, but I think it has. I'm so excited, especially for the upcoming Direct, and I can't wait to talk about this game even more. So, on that note, everyone, thanks for watching. It'll be a fun weekend, I think. I'm going on a quick business trip, and you'll see the results of that pretty soon. It doesn't involve Switch 2, but it does involve Nintendo to a degree. It should be a lot of fun. On that note, everyone, again, thank you for watching. Click subscribe if you haven't already. Oh, let me get the Discord link one more time, if I can. So if anyone wants to join the Discord, you can, before we fully wrap it up here. And got my notifications for anything have been nuts the past few days. I can't even keep up on everything. Jeez. There's the Discord. Hopefully this is the right one and not my work Discord. Just have like 100 people hop into that. All right. There we go, chat. Go ahead and join us there. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you later. Have a good one, everyone. Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.
All right, I'm actually going to stop the stream this time, last night, where I forgot. That was hilarious. This went on for like 2 more hours or something.